Well, hello and welcome to Crop Circle Makers TV, or Circle TV. Oh, I got a bit of echo there. I'll get rid of that. And as Theo Chalmers used to put it, my, what a show we've got for you tonight. So we're going to be speaking to circle makers. We're going to speak to circle makers that you've never seen before. And some of them are going to be a little bit cagey about their identities, but they have to do this for legal reasons. Obviously, I'm sure you'll understand. But I'm sure it's going to be an interesting night tonight. So without further ado, let me take you across to who's in the hot seat. And let me see. Hello. Hello, Circle Maker. So can you tell me, have you made many circles? You haven't made many circles? I thought you said you were like a big circle maker when I contacted you on the net. No? You haven't made many crop circles? Well, just fuck off then. Go on, fuck off out. I don't want you. If you're not making circles, fuck off. Oh my God. I don't want crap like that. Well, as you can see, we have some technical difficulties in actually getting real circle makers in the studio. So what I was going to do is I was just going to talk to you myself tonight, and just because I know that you wanted to see a real circle maker, I thought I'd do the whole show myself. No, I'm only kidding. We have got real circle makers, but I will have to retrain the camera on the door because here they are, real circle makers. Would you enter the room? Oops, I can't see you very well there. Okay, but hello. All will be explained now. Welcome to the room. And you can see our blue screen, which works quite nicely. So, here are two circle makers. Welcome.
Hello.
What shall we refer to you as? Hang on, let's fade your mics up. Hello again.
Hello.
Hi.
Right, what should we refer to you as?
You call me Bob. Bob would do fine.
Okay.
You?
Fanny.
Fanny.
Fanny and Bob. Okay, sounds good. So, right then, how long have you been making circles, Fanny and Bob?
I think we started around about 2000 when we started getting interested in it. Made our first
2000, yeah.
First active circle, 2004, I think, our own design. And then, so yeah, 10 years, 6 years proper active.
Excellent. Okay, that's somebody tipping drink over my floor. I should explain a little bit to you as well. Let's get a bit of background here. Basically, we got some sneaky faces in there. You're on camera. You're on camera. Right. As they all run and hide now. Yes, okay. I might have to retrain the camera if they don't want to be on camera. There you go. That's a bit better. But what we basically got is a situation here where we've got people are going to speak to the circle makers. So what we want you to do is to install Skype on your PC if you haven't already done so, and you can do that by going to www.skype.com, and then you want to have a look in the lower right hand corner of this screen. So the expert assistant is going to call up Explorer or Firefox. If you bring Firefox up onto the screen a second, what we'll do is we will show you what we've got. Right, that's not Firefox. That's Firefox. There you go, that's Firefox. Right, well now what we need to do is just show you the link. Oh, well, it's not here anyway. Why isn't it there? I put it up there earlier on. What you need to do is call up. I don't know what the hell's going on here. It's decided. No. Can you type in live stream? This is technical difficulties on day one. So if you type in live stream, yes, it's got it there. Bring that up. Okay, let's go full screen for a second, and we'll show you what you should be looking for, because there's actually a little chat program built into live stream. And if you scroll down the screen and you come down halfway across the screen, hey, there you go, you got somebody in the chat room already. So there's somebody called Werewolf, Truth Seekers 666. That's me. Then there's Johnny Darthy. Okay, so anyone getting mad delays? They're saying it's mad delays. I don't know. Hopefully not. Hopefully you can all see the stream. Okay, let us know in the live stream channel if you're not. But that's where you can chat away to each other. And then if you want to Skype the show, you need to go into Skype and you need to type in a contact. You have to add a contact into Skype called Truth Seekers 666 or CirclemakersTV. Actually, go for CirclemakersTV. That'll get you directly to us. So CirclemakersTV, and send us a chat message, and then we can get you on the show, because that's what this is about. It's about you asking the Circle Makers the questions, because I'm absolutely fucking fed up of answering your questions on YouTube. So and I always get accused of lying. So you can speak to the Circle Makers, and even though they've got these masks on, now we're going to have to explain a little bit about the masks. So what masks? Exactly?
This is my natural face.
Yeah, they're just hospital burns victims, really. We've got the Invisible Man on the right-hand side, and somebody from the Black and White Minstrels on the left. Okay, so okay, what we're going to do is see if anybody's trying to Skype in. Right, okay. Please allow me to see you. Yeah, there we are. So somebody's trying to get added on Skype. So it is very off the cuff. We've never done one of these before. It's all going to be a bit hectic, but that's not a crop circle belonging to these two circle makers there. Now that's often something that we get asked, so there's going to be a lot of suggestion in tonight's show, and people are going to be asking themselves, well, they put a picture up in the background, and does that mean that they made that circle? Well, don't assume anything unless the circle makers have specifically said that they've made a circle. Then assume not, okay? And if you want to ask if they've made a particular circle, then feel free to do so, but just because we're using graphics up in the background, it doesn't mean that they are actually the authors of the circle. So there we go. Right then, have we got any questions? Right, let's have a look. Okay, apparently everybody's sorted now, they reckon, in the live stream channel. So what we're looking for is anybody who's got any questions, basically. So anybody text into Skype or into the live stream channel, and if you want to come on air, text us and we'll give you a call. If you've got a webcam, you can webcam as well, and you can actually be seen up on the screen. We'll bring you up on the screen, and then you can pull out your sort of sex toys or whatever you want to do to try and embarrass the Circle Makers and myself, and then, generally just try and get us kicked off live stream as quickly as possible. So, yes, it's balls to the wall. Yes. Make sure you show pornographic images when you got your webcam up, then you'll definitely get us, you'll definitely get us kicked off then. Yeah, absolutely.
We'll enjoy it then.
Yeah. So, okay, well, let's go over to the Circle Makers and we'll chat to them and we'll ask them a few questions. So I've got some sort of pre-done questions, which I meant to print out but didn't. That's how organised I am, so I'm going to have to bring them up in Word. There we are. We've got phones, we've got people. It's great. We've got chickens, we've got animals, we've got excrement. It's great. Yeah, it's a real show. Okay, so what you want to do is turn your screensavers off, and if you're going to Skype into the show, you have to mute the live stream audio. If you don't do that, we'll be able to tell that you can hear us because it'll be echoing, and we'll ask you to go away and mute it, and then you can come back on. So right, let's have a look. We're trying to focus here on the weird aspects of making circles. We don't want to make this a show that's all about nastiness or, politics and, basically bitching about various researchers. Well, we do actually, but that's in the latter half of the show. In the first half of the show, we're going to be all love and light and really nice. Yeah. And we're going to tell you about the strange things that have happened to us. So, as a circle maker, speaking to Circle Maker, what happened to you when you've been making circles?
Well, quite numerous things, isn't there, really? On one of the first incidents when we went out and made one of our very early circles, it was a very foggy night one night, and Fanny was on the other end of the that's very dodgy, was on the other end of the tape measure when you bumped into something out in the fog there, didn't you? No, there was no real presence or anything like that, and it was you just felt like a little force field that you bumped into. Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, we've had rain clouds appearing all the way around us, but not raining inside the circle. Lightning storms all the way around us, clear sky above our heads.
Yeah. We've had time speeding up, haven't we?
Time speeding up in one particular circle, which I'm sure we'll come to later on. We had a very strange incident where the time seemed to just stretch right out for much longer than what was in reality, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So a fair few things. I'm sure we'll come across a few more as we go
For
through the
each
evening.
circle, yeah.
Yeah.
You can explain each experience per circle, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds interesting. Just as a note, we've had somebody say that they've had problems logging into live stream because of max numbers. There's only 50 allowed to watch, and apparently we must be at least on 50.
Oh.
Okay, hi
That's
everybody.
unbelievable. That's absolutely fantastic. Obviously, it's bad for anybody that wanted to come on. They'll have to watch the show a little bit later on. But I didn't even realise there was a limit, and I didn't think we'd get to 50. Obviously, this is going to be an important show. Then we might have to up our sort of allowances. Oh dear. Right. So maybe we should explain as well. Now, we'll come back to the strange experiences, but an important point which people are going to ask, I think, is why have we got you in the masks? Would you like to say a little bit about that? Because up until today, you were going to come in, face shown and everything, and it sounded pretty good, and I was like, okay, but then you've had a last-minute little change of heart, and that's not a bad thing, I don't think, because, being public about these things can lead to arrests, and I know all about that.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, and that's the fundamental reason.
Pardon?
Nothing. Turn Muslim.
Oh, right, yeah. No, it's
Well,
basically just to...
We've experienced some hostility in the past, haven't we?
Yeah,
and we've
lots of
spoken
that.
openly to people, and we think, I mean, obviously you can see us, but we can't see you. So,
You always have the advantage.
you're there having the advantage, and if you're going to have any hostility towards us, we're not going to know what's coming, really.
Yeah.
So, it's just protection for ourselves, really.
And obviously it's a criminal act, isn't it? Criminal damage out in the crop there, and we don't really... Because tonight, being in disguise also means that I can quite openly discuss which circles we've been involved in as well, without any repercussions.
Which we will do.
Which we will do, yeah, gladly. And talk about that.
Sounds pretty good. So basically, with that in mind, is there anything that you can't talk about tonight? Anything you kind of don't want people to ask you, or is it they should ask you and you'll tell them no? Is there any areas?
Yeah, at the time we'll decide on the question, but pretty much.
Yeah, just bring it on.
Yeah, bring it on.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, well, myself, I can actually speak a lot more about what I've done because I was arrested for making crop circles back in 2000, which some people might be aware of or not. But I've actually gone on the record and stated all the circles I made prior to 2000. And I might be taking a little bit of a risk by doing it because I could get arrested, possibly. But you tend to think, 10 years ago, it's not going to be something that's going to happen. So, would anything like that worry you? Because I know you said to me in the past, but you might have had a bit of a drink at the time. You're like sort of, I'll bring it. Get the police. I don't care. Newspapers. I'm not worried. No, people. What's your feelings on it now?
Well. I mean, yeah, we was originally, like yourself, going to put our faces out there and stuff and just think, hell, because we're good people, we know we're good people, and we always hope that shines through in our personality, when people actually meet us and speak about it. But then we've had various incidences where it's quite unbelievable, isn't it, really, where people actually turn quite nasty about it. As soon as you actually speak the truth about something, we've just had people that are just so stuck in that
their belief patterns or whatever. They believe that they're right and that we're complete and utter liars.
And they'll defend it slightly violently. And there was an incident involving other circle makers last year where images then were broadcast and things like that. And there was a little bit of a hint as to where those people might be residing at the time. And I just think that's pretty unacceptable, really, because even what people's thoughts are on crop circles, I don't think violence of any kind really warrants it at all, really, at the end of the day. We're only discussing the crop circles, our opinions and their opinions and stuff. There's never any need
why we make them, what it's all about.
I'm quite happy to talk about it, but I just don't really like the violent aspect of it and that sort of hostility.
And who do you think that's actually coming from? Is it coming from the farmers? Is it coming from researchers? Is it
Not farmers, no.
No, never farmers.
Experienced it from a farmer.
No, generally the fields that we've hit in the past are, I don't know, we call them circle-friendly farmers that are used to it maybe, and that they know how to...
we know where we can go.
Yeah, we know where we could go and things like that. I always find it's the people that make the money out of the research and things like that. They've always got a little...
They've got something to sell, haven't they?
They've got something to sell
So
and something to defend, and if you come out and burst the illusion, as it was, then obviously they're not going to make money out of it.
Whereas
so,
we're always about truth.
Yeah.
And there's fascinating stuff this side of the story as well. You know, it's the truth behind it. It's far more fascinating than anything you could think, really.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, let's go to that then, because obviously talking about negative things this soon in. I mean, I've had threats made against me. I know the farmers have even had threats made against them, and it's not something we really like or condone. But circle making is about art, and it's about waking people up, I think. So let's get on to the strange experiences again. I mean, would you like to tell us a specific formation and something that happened in that formation?
Yeah, we could talk about the OM circle that pops up over and over again with all this. What was his name? Win Keach. One of the researchers was on top of the hill filming the whole thing with a night vision camera, and. I guess we can just come out with the whole sort of story, can't we, really?
Of course, yeah.
We went to make this OM circle. Have you got a picture of the OM circle, have you? I'm sure people probably know what it is.
If we can call that up, and we'll bring it up, carry on for a second,
sure.
We'll bring it up then.
So, there was quite a large team of us. Was it 12 people involved?
Mm-hmm.
And we decided we was going to do this OM in Eastfield. And when we pulled up to the lay-by, there was somebody already sitting in their car inside the Eastfield lay-by. And when we all got out of the car, the vehicle that we was in that dropped us off there, a member of the team went over and had a look at the person sitting in there. I think he was just listening to an iPod or had headphones in or something like that. And we suddenly all felt very safe and thought, actually, it's going to be, not a problem to be able to do this circle.
And we just carried on regardless, didn't we?
Yeah, in full view of him. And then we just went into the field. And at the time, one of my team members, sitting over there, was on the other end of the tape measure. And we started marking out this circle, and then on the first sweep of the tape and the first construction line went in, we suddenly realised that this is actually enormous, very, very big, because my colleague disappeared over the brow of the hill, and I couldn't even see him on the other end of the tape. But anyway, to get onto the weird sort of thing that happened there, as we was filling out all the circles,
it seemed to take hours and hours and hours. So much.
We've marked out so many big circles, haven't we, to flatten down.
Yeah.
And when we come to do a time check, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning after we started, at just about 11, wasn't it? And it was 2 hours. It always took us to do this massive sweep with all these things in there. And it really felt like a stretch of time, didn't it? And then we all felt a very positive thing to carry on making the circle.
And obviously he got it up on there. You see the bottom sweep down there. The thing with this circle is there's a lot of mistakes in there.
It's not. It's my design, and it's not how it was meant to be. There are a few mistakes, but I still like it.
Yeah, we love it. It's the experience it gave us.
And actually, as we was
marking out all the circles,
it was actually
omming.
I know people understand what omming is.
Yeah, on the way there, we had a CD on, and we were all sort of like omming through it. And as we was actually stomping through the fields as well, we were all omming, putting love and intent and all the rest of it, and good vibes and all the rest of it. That's what it's all about. It's for people to go in there and have a lovely positive experience and pick up those vibes, pick up those intentions, and that's what the OM was about.
And the very next morning after we finished it, we was all completely exhausted, very knackered, and we went and had a celebrationary drink around a friend's house. And we decided, as soon as the dawn came, that we were just too eager to go and see what we'd done. So we all went up to the top of Eastfield, up into this lay-by at the top there, only to find a vehicle already parked there. This very excited gentleman stood there, wasn't it? Win Keach. Hello, Win, if you're watching, by the way. He was, and on top of his vehicle, we noticed these cameras.
And I thought, oh no.
We've been rumbled. We said, what are you doing up here then? He goes, I've just been filming that crop circle being made. And he asked us what we were doing up there.
We came for sunrise, didn't we?
Yeah, so we're of course thinking on our feet. He didn't actually, at that time, work out that there was a big team of people covered in muddy boots and looking very exhausted and dishevelled like we've just been, you know, very physical.
Out all bloody night.
Yeah, out all night. Yeah. And he didn't work that out, so we just lied and just said because it was the 7th of the 7th of the 7th, we thought we'd come and watch the sunrise. That's the only thing we could think of. Anyway, he said that the cameras on top of his vehicle were night vision cameras, so we thought instantly, rumbled. That's it, we'd been spotted. But it turns out he showed us the footage, and sure enough, you can't see us on there at all. Not even. And there
so
was
perhaps we didn't do it.
No, or did we do it? Yeah. They got us questioning ourselves because people were so adamant.
No bloody way, I was knackered.
There was no way that we were in that field, and we know bloody right who was because one of our colleagues had an accident whilst lighting a cigarette and set light to his hair, and which was an incident. And anyway, talking to Wynne Keach, he said, "Oh, it was absolutely amazing because there was this flash of light, and then the circle was in the field." And of course, we immediately thought that was that hair lighting incident, and he spotted it on his camera. Turns out it was an entirely different thing. The flash that he saw wasn't the flash of a certain person lighting their hair. Yeah, and then the OM has been the source of thereafter, hasn't it, really?
It has, yeah.
And some people are seeing the circles in there as elliptical, and I don't know where the elliptical thing comes from, because they were certainly circular when we did it. I think the only theory we come up with was that the
fact they're over a brow of a hill,
and stuff like that. So
they possibly could look like that.
Yeah, that was a strange old evening, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
And another incident would be the when we was making the fall.
Oh, the fall, yeah.
And we heard Paul laughing in our ear as we was going around stomping our friend
that
who
was
died.
very specific.
Very specific, yes. Yeah, so it was in honour. Have you got a picture of that one as well, Dean?
Yeah, we'll have a look for that now.
Yeah.
That's for our very good friend Paul, isn't it, who passed away that year.
Yeah, he passed away, so we made
we
it
did it as a tribute, yeah.
His nickname was the Fool, so we thought it was only appropriate to do a jester's hat, really. And as we was going around, and we'd done a little, you know, affirmation. And
we always do affirmations when we start, yeah, don't we?
Yes.
And we put an affirmation out there for him, and then we carried on and did that.
Yeah.
So just
finding out laughing right here.
Yeah, we'll try and call that up in a second.
Yeah,
we'll have to possibly download that. So that's an interesting set of events there, and like you say, there were people actually watching on the hills, and they didn't see anybody making the formation. But I know a lot has been said, as you made clear, about this being an impossible thing. I don't think you mentioned about the people who were seen going into the field.
The people, yes.
The intergalactic...
the interdimensional Land Rover.
The interdimensional Land Rover, where the men in black went in to go and make the crop circle.
Yeah.
Which always amazes me, how people are so...
come up with this.
Yeah, quick to believe the impossible or the ludicrous in place of something that's quite simple. A Range Rover pulled up and some people went in and made the crop circle.
And when we went.
It's very strange, very strange.
So yeah, the people who pulled up in this... Range Rover or Land Rover got out, walked into the field, and were observed by somebody parked in the silage pit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this person in the silage pit said that a load of people walked in with tools and bits and pieces, but then it was reinterpreted by crop circle researchers as being, oh yes, but they weren't really people with tools, that they were actually aliens looking like people, and that wasn't really a Land Rover, it was an interdimensional spacecraft.
Well, they exist though, don't you know that? We arrived in one tonight.
I've seen Doctor Who, yes. It's a bloody good TV series, yeah, that's right. So, well, that's one particular formation. We've got some questions here, so should we take some questions?
Yeah.
Right, somebody called AJP.
Hello, AJP.
Yes, he says, did you make the Chisbury Star Formation?
Chisbury Star Formation. That would be a no. From last year?
That I'm not sure of.
I'm pretty sure it would be.
No, it doesn't sound familiar, so I don't think... No, that won't be one of ours.
Maybe you could call it up. Right, we've got a picture of the Fool... We'll come back to the Chisbury Star thing in a second then. We've got a picture of the Fool Formation.
Yes,
we were just
Fool's
talking about,
yeah. In complete honour of our friend Paul Obi, who's nicknamed the Fool. So we had to go and do that in tribute. And as I say, he was very present. Absolutely present. Absolutely present.
Yeah.
And the significance of it is it's supposed to look like a jester's hat.
Yes.
Straight from the tarot card.
From the tarot card.
Yeah.
The Fool.
And that's
the knapsack.
That was him.
He was the Fool.
Hanging over a precipice. Always on the edge of a precipice.
So
We've got
another circle maker here.
We've actually got
two circle makers here.
This circle maker,
we'll
keep him secret
for the moment.
But we're going to keep his identity secret.
He's going to come on a future show.
But you may
hear him comment from time to time. So if you hear an echoing comment in the room, that's
mysterious
Circle Agent D.
So,
or Neville.
You knew Paul as well, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. Speak up so we can hear you.
Yes, I knew Paul very well. He was a lovely guy. He was on the peripherals of the circle making thing. Very lazy guy. He didn't really want to go out and make circles. Especially the pants. But yeah, I wanted him to go on that one. But yeah, he was absolutely amazing. Amazing guy.
Funny enough, the newspapers didn't they say afterwards that prominent circle maker dies.
No, he wasn't.
But he wasn't really. He was returning his great friend, and that's how we
Exactly,
remember
yes.
But he enjoyed them. He enjoyed what they were about.
I think.
I mean, when it actually happened, I think that I sort of said, well, you know, let's have him be remembered as a big circle maker. That'll sort of stir things up a bit. So yes, he was remembered as a big circle maker, and that's in numbers of circles made, not in waist size. Yeah. So, okay, did we get to Chisbury Star?
The Chisbury Star, yeah, what was that?
What the Chisbury Star one. We'll see if we can call that one up. So let's have a look if it was called Yes 20. He says AGP says Yes 2010 Chisbury Star at St Martin's Chapel.
No. Didn't make any after.
St Martin's Chapel. Yes.
Oh, we better get. Do you want to repeat that? You didn't make any last year.
Last year, no. We had a year sabbatical.
Right.
Took some time out.
Interesting. Okay, maybe this is the Chisbury Star. So if you want to bring that one up, we'll come to it in a second. But we've got a photo of it. Let's have a look at some other questions we've got. Void Hawk says, as the researchers expect a great season for 2011, wouldn't it be interesting if all the circle makers would get together and not make any this year?
Yes, wouldn't it be great?
How many times we've talked about that?
Yeah. It is one of the most common things that people say. Now, I mean, I don't know if you haven't asked a circle maker that question before, you're not going to know that. But trust me, if you're a circle maker, that is the number one thing that everybody will ask you, is whether you could stop doing it to prove a point.
Yeah.
Little be known to a lot of you out there, a circle maker who is very prominent in the Wiltshire area decided in order to do the next best thing, because if you think about it, if a circle making team or all the circle making teams got together and didn't make circles, then there would be no circles out there, and that would be quite a sad year. So what one very imaginative circle maker out there said he would do is he would set guidelines of where they would appear and where they wouldn't appear. And what he said is he wasn't going to work in the central area around Alton Barnes. And strangely enough, he must have been in contact with the aliens, because, or the government, to use lasers to imprint these things into the field, because it was weird. They stayed out of the central area. And that came true, you know. So this was put on YouTube. If you have a look at my YouTube channel, this was talked about at the beginning of 2010. And lo and behold, it came true. Now, I'm not that circle maker, but I was speaking something that I was being told, and it did come to pass. So it proves the point, and it was actually a good way of doing it without having to not have any crop circles, which would have been quite sad. So,
but there's another point as well, though, is the circle makers, local circle makers. We could all agree one year that we didn't do that, certainly, but there is always another element of other teams that we don't know that come in to the area and they make their art, and they leave again, and sometimes we don't really know those people, so you can't really stop. It's like asking all the artists in the world to stop painting, but you can never control that type of thing, because people all have their own agendas and things, don't they, to come in and make their own circles and then disappear again. So I don't think you'll be able to get all the crop circles to stop.
Yeah, okay. Right. Voidhawk has then said, or is it the researchers that have a cabal of circle makers that do it for them anyway?
That's been said before, hasn't it?
Yeah, we've wondered.
Yeah, a lot of
Certainly
people.
not us.
A lot of people accuse certain researchers that take the photos, and they say, well, because they've got to the photos quicker than people think is possible, then they must be paying the circle makers.
Yeah.
Let's have it from you guys. How much money, how many millions, have you earned from the crop circle subject?
Oh, I think the
Oh,
bank
big
balance
fat
was...
zero.
Really? I thought it was 10.2 million. Oh, we're not telling them that, though.
No, don't tell them that.
We're off to Barbados tomorrow, so...
Don't tell them about the Lawrence Rockefeller money. No. MI5, don't say it. No. It really doesn't happen, does it? I mean,
No.
people.
No.
People.
It can
No,
happen.
the only people that make money out of it are what we said before.
Yeah, the researchers.
The
really.
researchers.
Yeah.
We don't do it for money.
No, it's not about the money.
It's not about the money in the slightest.
To quote Bill Hicks, stop putting a fucking dollar sign on everything. It's art. It's a wonderful thing, and it shouldn't be bought. And
And it's a medium. It's a message. We're getting that, especially what the designs we come up with. They're all about having a message with them. If you look into the ones we've done, they've all got an underlying message, and that's what it's about: getting a message through to the people.
Yeah.
Of positive love and compassion and all the rest of it.
Right.
Living in harmony with each other.
Well said, Fanny.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll probably come back onto this point later on, because it's often something that's brought up is who's making the money out of this, and it really isn't the circle makers. In fact, some of the biggest and best circle makers out there really don't even have a name for themselves. They're artist scene, but that's it. They hide in the background, and they just like the fact that people enjoy their work. So now we've got the Chisbury Star, just as it was mentioned.
pretty.
So that was the Chisbury Star. In
That's nice.
St. Martin's Chapel of 2010. So, wasn't you guys
No,
there?
it wasn't that.
No, but I do know that some people that visited that one, and they had a very lovely experience inside there.
Okay. Right, we'll take another question. Man-Made Man says, what is the message?
Well, it depends on the circle and what we were thinking at the time.
Yeah.
For
Or we could think of one like the dragonfly.
yeah, the dragonfly.
Dragonfly.
Well, there's a story behind the dragonfly. Oh, you're coming back to the weird, strange things that happened actually. It was we sometimes do full moon fires.
Full moon and new moon fires.
Full moon and new moon fires, where sometimes we go to a location and on a full moon and new moon, and we have this fire where we cleanse ourselves of all the things that don't serve us in our life.
All our negativity, we
All our
just get rid of
negativity.
it.
Yeah.
And,
And you symbolise it by blowing it into a stick and burning the stick. But anyway, that's a different story. Where we was actually at one of these fires, we was in a location just at the top of Knapp Hill car park, wasn't it? And we had this... at the time, because I spoke to somebody previously about that area, and on top of Knapp Hill, it's an Iron Age fort, and there's a few mounds around that area, so it's a very significant place, in yesteryear. And I heard about the ancestors that used to live there. And when I was sitting there meditating around this fire, I just thought to myself, I'll ask the ancestors what they actually want to see, because I was a little bit stumped for ideas at that time. And so I just put it out there in my mind, what would you like to see? And almost immediately I thought that, a flash came into my head of the dragonfly, not only just the dragonfly, exactly how to make it,
all the dimensions that are involved in it, and to also have an element of what's the right word? An organic crop circle to make it. Yeah, it was nothing mathematical. There was no equations that went into it. It was just done pretty much freehand. A lot of it was done freehand, just to try this new sort of style.
And we went out and we done it, and
for
what
the
a
wings,
fantastic
you said
work.
you wanted to be used like a pencil, didn't you?
Used like a
And
pencil.
you just gave it over and you said, right, use me like a pencil. And off you went to do the veins of the wings. And that flash came into your head after asking what you'd like to see.
And
there it was, in an instant, and I had to do it.
And the meaning behind the dragonfly was?
The
meaning behind the dragon? Oh, it all symbolises to do with evolving, transformation, because the dragonfly starts off life underwater as a different being altogether, and then when it comes out, it spreads its wings and it becomes, another being. And another circle that we've done that year was the phoenix, which is also the same meaning of transformation.
Rising from the ashes and overcoming obstacles and becoming
The
stronger.
transformation, rising,
transforming.
rebirth. And the hummingbird as well, that was the one we'd done that year, on the same year as the other two, wasn't it?
You took that design from the Nazca.
Well, I took that design from the Nazca desert drawings, and actually, nobody actually picked up on it, but we pointed the beak north, because in the sacred fires that we do, the hummingbird symbolises the
north,
the north winds. And so we've done that, and it's also a symbol
always
of
has meaning
transformation.
behind it, and it's just something that gets overlooked really.
The Om, going back to that, is the Om,
yeah.
is the sacred symbol. Om, that's the sound of all creation. And And my colleague over there is trying to get me to say about one particular circle we done called the pants, which was quite simply, one year we just decided, you know what, let's put some humour into this. And boy did we have a laugh doing that, didn't we, making that circle. And it was just a nice big pair of Y fronts. So the message in there was, don't take yourself so seriously. It's all a bit of fun.
We'll come back to the pants. In a second. What I was going to do is bring up on the screen so we don't lose track of where we're going.
Yeah, we covered a few circles.
That's okay. No, that's fine. This is the hummingbird in the Nazca Plains, and then we're going to try and flip on to the actual circle that you did. So if we flip forward a couple, and we'll probably find it then there. Can you keep going? There is no more. Go back. There isn't. No, you'll have to look it up on...
it's disappeared again,
I thought you had the hummingbird.
I thought we had the hummingbird. Oh, well. This is technical difficulties. Yeah, it's in there somewhere. There. No, you'll have to look it up on the web. Okay, let's not worry about that for a second. So, yeah, okay, right then. Pants, underpants.
Underpants, yes.
What's the significance there then? Because... that's a strange sort of...
Yeah, it was just like I said, just to put
literally,
put some humour into that. And the whole design, the whole time that we were doing that design, we just laughed constantly, didn't we? And yeah, and it's also a private in-joke as well, because different teams of circle makers sometimes have their own names and stuff. And once upon a time, when we were first starting out making circles, we made a very atrocious one. And we just said, God, it just looks pants. And we said,
we became Team Pants.
As a joke, we thought we'll call ourselves Team Pants, and so we had to do the pants
emblem
one day. We just done a pair of Y fronts, but yeah, we hope the people went in there had a bit of a chuckle and didn't take it so seriously, you know. Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, okay, channeled inspiration you mentioned.
Yes.
This is something that comes up a lot. It's certainly something that's affected me in the past. I mean, you're obviously getting your inspiration when you're sitting at home. You know, sometimes it's not something that just happens out in the fields to go and do a particular thing. What do you say about where your inspiration comes from? And
well, I don't know. It could be a range of things, isn't it? I mean, the OM was a really obvious sort of choice for you, wasn't it? Because you really loved the OM.
I'm really into what the OM stands for. Yeah, and that was my design. So, whatever what I wanted to come across was love, compassion. You know. What's the other one? What's it called?
Enlightenment. All of those.
All that, all the stuff all the positive stuff that goes. And I wanted people who went in that to feel that and pick up on that vibe.
And
the amount of times we saw people coming out of there who were picking up on that, we just knew the vibe was, was there, and they were all loving it. So I think like that actually worked.
Do you remember seeing that disabled gentleman coming out of the? That circle, and as I was driving past it one day, I just saw scores of people in there, busloads of people. I've never seen so many people in a circle before, and I just looked, and there was a little sort of a doubt that popped into my head, thinking, God, are we misdirecting all these people with this circle and that? And I just saw this disabled gentleman coming out, and he had a big clutch of crop in his hand, and the biggest smile on his face I've ever seen in my life, and I just thought, that's what it's about, really.
That's the reason, yeah.
Look at that enjoyment that person's getting, And I kind of think that once you've made that circle, you've done the design. We've had our experience when we've made the circle, and we've had all the things that have happened to us, and then it gets passed on to everybody else. It's nobody's design.
Sorry. What we haven't covered is how we first start the circle as well, and what we do when we first go into the circle.
Yes.
Yeah. About the intention we put an affirmation in the circle. We all hold hands, a big group of us, and we all say a piece, don't we?
Yeah.
Normally, you sort of stand there and
ask the universe for protection and
for the farmer to get something out of it, and for every single person who goes into that field, into that crop, to actually get a positive vibe that we've put in there to get it from that, and have a really positive and lovely experience.
Yes.
So, we always do that in all of our circles.
Excellent. Well, I think we've got the hummingbird here now, so we can have a little look at that. So that's the hummingbird formation, which
based on the Nazca
drawings. Yeah. Okay.
And
well.
that was by Stanton.
Okay, we'll come back to inspiration later on, because this is the crux, I think, of where a lot of circle makers are coming from. Not all, but certainly a lot of circle makers I've met over the years. They sort of talk about their inspirations and strange coincidences that happen when other people are predicting things that they go out and then do, which is an interesting thing that doesn't get talked about a lot, certainly in research, crop circle researcher communities. another reason why we did this channel, so that people could get to hear the things that they don't hear anywhere else. So let's have a look at some of the questions. How many crop circle maker teams? HAP, you're getting lots of questions answered here. How many crop circle maker teams operate in Wiltshire on an annual basis?
Well, it's really hard to say that. I don't think I can really answer that.
I mean, obviously,
well, no, we know of us, obviously ourselves, and then
there's
the
other groups.
The master, who in his team.
We'll come back to the master and what we mean by this, because it is a caveat to this.
To say locally, there are a few teams or a few individuals, really.
3 or 4.
To say the word team is not.
We kind of borrow from each other, don't we?
Yeah, whoever's available at the time. So it's just like it's known circle makers.
Mm.
There's a fair few.
We've gone out on other people's as well. You know, not been the designers of it or the creators of it, and we've gone along with other people on other teams. So we kind of all mingle together. It's like a big family, really. We borrow from each other and say, right, what are you doing tonight? And are you free? And we're like, too bloody right.
It's not like an elite group, is it? Really, it's just sometimes people just think, well, I fancy having a go at doing that myself, and gathering a team of reprobates and going.
The thing is, the crop circle, it's all you can't plan and time anything. It just if it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
And if the timing's right, then the timing's right, and it will happen, and everything goes smoothly. So we've never had any hiccups, have we? Well, not like that, but not.
But we always know when the time's right to go out and make
exactly.
A
That's what I was trying to say.
We'll get together and the text messages go out and you're available and stuff, and sometimes people aren't. I mean,
it all just gels together and then it happens.
Yeah, that's the important thing.
So
I think that's the magic, isn't it?
Yeah, individual teams per se is like.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah, it's not like I don't know, like pop groups, or it's just like different groups and they stick to that, the same membership, as it were. We'll just borrow and share. But I mean, me and Fanny and our friend sitting over there as well, we tend to go out together because we work really well together. But
Sorry about that. That was me pressing buttons.
All right.
I just needed to see, I don't know if anybody can tell me, if I bring the image up on screen, hopefully now you're not getting terrible double audio, because somebody said you're getting terrible double audio. Okay, coming back to that. Right. Okay. Did we answer that one properly?
I think so.
We did. Okay, good. Because I was pressing buttons. I was pressing buttons, sorry. I didn't hear all that. Right. So, Johnny says Echoes were in the background picture. It was at an angle. Okay. Okay. Are there any crop circles that you guys and all the crop circle makers know that have absolutely no idea where they've come from?
No. Really? Which one? Sorry, someone in the background said yes.
So Agent D in the background is saying something. So I'll turn his mic up.
There are a few.
Well, we don't know who made them.
Yes.
Well, not in the local area, not recently.
There is the odd one.
The odd one that pops up.
Think,
and usually they're quite novice sort of things. You can kind of tell when a new team are experimenting, because there's like different stages of evolution that they go through, isn't there?
I mean, but there is every season.
Yeah.
There is the odd crop circle. You think, who made that?
Yeah. Not what made it, but who made it. Another team.
Not yet. Exactly.
That we haven't met yet.
They are man-made, but in fact, who made that? It's a very.
Yeah. But mostly, I kind of think with the friends that we've got.
Designs as well.
Yeah, you can tell each other's styles. And usually
so
by
you
looking
generally
at
know who's done what.
Yeah, just by looking at it.
Just by looking at it. Yeah.
Not right all the time, but generally.
Right.
The thing, we all communicate to each other as well, so most of the time we come in anyway. And usually the ones that appear where we don't know they are, they're not really spectacular, shall we say? Yeah, much, skill involved.
But let it be said as well that there are, a couple of geniuses that are actually very, very, very good at this. And,
yeah, we can usually tell their ones pretty much straight away. Cause like, yep.
Well, myself included.
Yeah.
To be said.
Great. Okay.
Thank you,
well,
Agent D.
Whoever you are, we will meet you soon. Yes. Going back up to some of the questions, there was somebody saying, this is called Hamster 33, and he or she says, you've said you do not do it for the money, but have you ever been paid by a farmer to make a crop circle for them to exploit?
Absolutely not.
Never.
totally against
Never
our
would
principle.
either.
No. I can speak
Well,
for
unless
that.
it was 10 million quid, I suppose. So, well, that'd be...
Well,
It's-
that's ridiculous. But no, never would. Against my principles. It's
Yeah.
not what it's about at all.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot. It's always something that's brought up, isn't it? You know, farmers are making money out of this. Well, I mean, I don't know many farmers who've made a great deal of money out of it.
No, from the honesty boxes, which I think is right for them
Which
to
is a
do
good
that.
idea,
You know,
yeah.
it's good.
Mm.
But people should go in there and just pay that. And sometimes the farmers can be,
They can
get
make
quite a-
money, but
yeah.
it's never vast
Martin Sale
fortunes.
Hill one.
Yeah, for example, yeah, we
300
had
quid first
the
couple
farmer,
of days.
yeah, and in fact, the farmer at Martinsell Hill was very
Left it there for ages and ages,
he
didn't he?
ploughed round it,
Mm,
left it there so
ploughed
more people
round
can
it.
go there because he made about 300 quid on the first day.
Yeah.
So good on him. If that's what he
Yeah,
needs
fair
to
play
keep
to
him
him,
happy,
yeah.
then he was a happy person with that as well. So more happiness spread out.
There's one or two farmers who've made money in the thousands, but these have been very large formations where you've had buses turning up, sort of
Yeah,
daily.
but there wasn't a
There's no
a
connection
deal
between
the
no.
makers and the
No.
farmers.
No,
It's just what
never.
he's doing afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
never
think that's fine if
created.
they do that. I mean, it's their field, isn't it? They can
Mhm. Yeah.
do what they like.
Yeah, I mean, the circle makers are working illegally. If they were caught doing it, or if a prosecution was made successfully against the person for doing that, they would be in court. And I think there have been occasions when farmers have been paid by circle makers to do demonstrations. Sometimes, a TV company wants something done,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you do it in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
The
sure.
farmer gets paid. There is some room to say that because the farmer is asked not to talk about the origin of the circle, that honesty boxes have been put out and money has been made, and then it's come out later on that it was actually a man-made circle. That has happened, but again, I don't think circle makers have really colluded for the farmer to make the money. That's just a byproduct of the fact that you need to have some secrecy in order to do something in a realistic fashion. If you tell people you're going to make a formation in a field on a particular night, there's a good chance that people will come and trash it the next day. But if they think it's a real formation, then they'll leave it alone, and it'll get a bit of chance to gain appreciation. And again, the farmers are the ones making the money, usually the circle makers. I mean, I'll speak for us.
Yeah.
I think most of those Wiltshire circle makers have never really made any money out of it. There is a group of circle makers from London, and they call themselves the Circle Makers, which gives you the impression that they are the circle makers. There aren't many.
There are no more.
There are no other circle makers, but this channel is trying to prove that point wrong. There are lots of other circle makers out there who do a lot of things and never get any credit for it, never get any payment for it, but they do get their work appreciated, and that's why they do it. It's not about making money, and the farmer is always surprised usually when these things happen. Sometimes they're incensed, and they've been cutting them out. Doesn't stop them coming.
Never
but
happened to us, has it?
No,
Never
luckily,
happened.
touch wood, so far.
yeah,
We've been out sometimes just about to go and do a circle, and we've noticed combine harvesters in the field that we'd chosen. So obviously
But they've never ever cut ours out.
no, thank goodness. There's a lot of
All
work.
that work that goes into it.
right. We've got a question here from Crop Dolly. It says, when I came into crop circles, my first one I witnessed was the 2007 Eastfield Triangular Formation. That was, was that definitely a man-made formation? Do we know which one?
Yeah,
To the
Eastfield
triangle.
the Titanic Triangle.
That was Eastfield, Titanic.
Eastfield, Titanic Triangle.
Yeah, I remember another Titanic Triangle over by
that was the-
Yatesbury. But not that one.
No, I do believe she's actually referring to the one that's actually...
Let's bring it up. The trouble is with, and you're going to get this, right? I know people kind of say, Mr. Williams, you are a liar because you don't know what circles you've done. Unless,
But you've made so many.
It was actually named by Peter Wilson as the Titanic Triangle.
yes.
It came out at the same time as the film Titanic.
Oh, really?
Hence the Titanic Triangle. I believe it was actually made by
What year was that?
a number of people. It was around
Did she say 2007?
99. 98, 99.
Is that the one that?
No,
No, we're just looking at
Huge
different
triangle.
designs here. Doesn't
Huge
appear to be.
triangle with like 3 grape shots on each corner.
Sure. Now, the reason that this is going to sound a little bit weird for some people, let me turn myself down because I'm feeding back a bit there. We don't always refer to our forms as the formations given by researchers. So, what might be the Fool for our friends on the... I nearly said your names then. What might be the...
Bob and Fanny?
The food... Yeah, Bob and Fanny. Nice names. They would refer it to as the fool. Other people would be referring it as something else. So it's not always the same names. So I'm often having to look them up on the internet myself to find out that it's either something I did or didn't do. And the other thing that I suffer with is an incredibly bad memory. And when somebody asks me if I did something, they usually have to show me a design of it. If they say, 1998, this formation, and it looked like this, I'm not going to be able to tell you. I literally have to go to the internet, look up the picture, then I can tell you if I did or I didn't. But that's the only way I'm going to know. So it's going to take us a few seconds to call these up to make sure, I do know people who've got photographic memories and can actually recall exactly what you mean. I'm not one of those people. Too many years of drug abuse, I think, yes. Have we got it yet? No? Well, we'll keep looking. We'll come back to that then. So we'll come back to that. Sorry we couldn't answer that one directly, but I think no was the answer. You didn't actually do it.
No, we didn't do that. No.
Didn't do a large triangle in the East Field.
No, the question was, do we think it was man-made? And I'd answer that
was
yes,
the question.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think it was man-made after doing the things that we've done, and then once you've done a crop circle, and then you look on the websites like the Crop Circle Connector the very next day, and you read what people have written about it, and having seen what they've written about.
You can see how they're done. You can see how they're made, can't you?
Well, yeah. Agent D, you want to say something?
No.
Okay. I'm just going to check something a second. We're not getting anybody. Nobody's tried to Skype in so far, so we assume that you're all happy, not necessarily asking you questions directly. But if somebody wants to, then send us a text message, and you can Skype the show. There's a few people who've been sending Skype messages to us, so we are getting them. Send us a quick message, and we'll give you a ring, or you can give us a ring. It's probably best if we give you a ring. If you send us a Skype message first, then we'll give you a quick ring and we'll pipe you through. If you've got your webcam, turn it on, but make sure that you either pause the live stream, which might be a bit risky, so I would say, because you might get kicked off and then you won't be able to get your position back in this 50 people situation, a limit of 50 people. So I would say don't press the pause button, mute it. There's a little volume slider. Turn your volume slider all the way down to the bottom, or press the button and it goes into mute mode. Do that, leave it running in the background, and you'll safely be able to speak to us without echo, and we'll get you on the show. So, another question. Bob Bull, how many crop circles do you usually make each season?
Well, if you're aiming that question specifically at us, usually 4 or 5, around about that sort of area.
Yeah.
Sometimes less. Last year we didn't make any at all. We just fancied a break from it, didn't we? But usually no more than that.
No, what did we do in 2009?
Which was your biggest year, do you think?
Well, the biggest year would have been 2000...
Was it 2007 when we did the On?
Yeah, well, that was the biggest circle, but not the biggest amount. I'd say it was 2009, the Hummingbird.
Oh yeah, the 2009,
and,
yeah.
The Dragonfly, the Phoenix, the Martinsville Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah. But generally, 4 or 5. I mean, there are other teams, obviously, that go out and,
It's bloody hard work.
It is hard work. And we both work
night.
as well, so you have to have the next morning off at least, and sometimes it's just not possible, so you have to, time it just right where you've got the day off next day. Us, personally, So, yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah, you've got jobs.
Yeah.
Yes.
And would you say that most circle makers are sort of working or unemployed or retired, or what would you say?
I'd say a mixture, isn't it?
It's definitely a mixture, yeah. Some have, some haven't. Some had jobs and now not, and yeah.
When you started making circles, you had a little bit more free time on your hands. I know that.
Yeah.
And you're both sort of like quite well employed now, but you still manage, every once in a while to kind of get out there and put a bit of effort in.
Yeah.
And
last year we didn't at all, did we? Because of the politics behind it all.
Yeah.
It just got very silly.
Some of it got very silly after, some of the discussions we had with people.
With researchers and stuff, and being called liars to our faces, and just got a bit outrageous, really. Kind of lose faith in it a bit, so we wanted to dip out of it for a while.
Yeah, take a break.
Is this the Mr. Buckley, should we say allegedly, alleged incidents with certain people named perhaps Andy Buckley? Yeah. This is who we're talking about.
It's a bit silly, really. Do you know what I mean? It's just, we're only doing it for the reasons we stated before. There's no hostility.
Love and light, man.
Yeah, love, light,
art, put a message out there.
Yeah.
All those reasons. There's no negativity on our part. We don't set out to fool people. Absolutely not.
No.
We just go out there, put design in the field, and then people just get what they get out of it. And what I kind of think as well, which I find interesting, is sometimes when you put a design in the field, and then when it's a fresh one, sometimes people get it straight away. They go, "Wow, this is amazing." And sometimes people go in there and say, "Oh, it feels a bit flat," but then later in the season they go, "Oh no, I went in that circle and it was fantastic. It was really good again." What it is humans don't give themselves enough credit for things. We're all trying to give our power away to other things, and oh no, we're not capable of doing such wonderful things like that. Although when they say that, they forget about the pyramids of Stonehenge and the Hadron Collider and putting man on the moon and all of that type of thing. That goes out the window. We're all possible of doing those.
Human beings are pretty amazing things.
Yeah, and and crop circles is kind of part of that. And I think that when people visit the circle and they have wonderful feelings and they say, "Oh, the energies were great in there, and I meditated and I had really good healing experiences and stuff." What it actually is because so many people are visiting that circle and putting their love and intent into that circle and
It's
physically
magnified,
treading.
isn't it?
Yeah, other people go in there and they pick up on the good energy that's in there. But instead of actually working out that it's them themselves doing it, they try to give the power away. Say it has to be the Syrian High Council or the bloody, all these extraterrestrial beings and stuff like that. When the truth is a lot more simple than that.
It's you. Human beings are amazing. And it's you.
You have the power to heal yourself and do all these things in there, but you just forget.
Stop giving your power away.
Sure.
And that's I think that's one of our motivations really for doing this, to try and put that point across.
Yeah.
But actually, human beings are pretty good.
That's definitely one of the reasons for doing the show, is to kind of dispel the myths, to make people understand that circle makers are not necessarily these government agents. They're just normal people that hold down normal sort of jobs. I mean, what can I ask, if you want to be veil about it, but what sort of jobs do you have?
Well, I won't say mine.
No.
No.
I can't really tell you mine either. Because
Transportation management?
Yeah, the transportation business, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And mine is, how can you say mine without giving away too much?
Care work.
Yeah.
Yeah, would you say that?
Care worker, yeah.
Yeah, care worker, a little bit more
Yeah.
specific than that, but a care worker would do.
Yeah. Not necessarily somebody who's into false flag operations and subverting foreign governments and
Oh, no.
what
I only did that at weekends though.
How many? Yeah, I was going to say, how many wiretaps do you put on people in a week? In the average week.
Oh, just a few thousand.
Is that the formation they're referring to as the Titanic Triangle in
Oh,
Eastfield?
Is that it?
If somebody wants to send us the link, yeah, somebody called Ariadne has just said, Crop Dolly, that they can't trace the triangular formation in Alton Barnes that year. Is it the one you mean, or perhaps you link to the YouTube clip? Hang on, somebody's sending us a YouTube clip here. I'll just click on the link and we'll have a little look. We'll see now. Might be worth you going to this link actually, and then we'll bring it up on the screen. Oh God. Scheiße video. But nobody can see this at home apart from me, so this isn't much good. What we'll do is we'll bring this up on the screen properly in a second. Okay, so let's have a look at questions. Anybody wanting to Skype in, by the way? Not seen anybody in the live stream channel telling us they wanted to Skype in. Right. Let's have a look at my question sheet. I've got some very basic points. How do you pick a design? We've kind of covered that. What drives you?
What drives you?
4x4s?
Yeah,
Interdimensional Range Rover.
Yeah. Okay.
What drives us to do it? I don't know.
It's what
Why
we
do
said
people?
before, putting a message out there.
Yeah, and sometimes, what drives a person to paint a picture? Or to write a song, or to do that. It's just the love of doing it as well, isn't it?
It's art at the end of the day as well.
Art, very good stuff.
Yeah. Art
It's
with a magic.
multi-level, I'd say.
Art with a little bit of magic.
Yeah.
Art with a bit, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can interpret the word magic in various ways as well. But, do you do your designs based on other people's ideas or original work?
Original.
I'd say original work, but then everybody's a plagiarist somewhere along the line. maybe unintentionally. I don't know. Sometimes, people might pick up on because I noticed a sort of theme around about the time we'd done the Dragonfly. When you look at that design, it was like a stem going up the middle and the wings coming out. And then somebody else had designed something that looked very similar to an axe. That was the same thing, the stem going up and the thing. Yeah, and it just seemed like that was it was a different spin on the same core shape. Yeah. So I think sometimes people connect, into that sort of consciousness, don't they? And sometimes
pick up on other designs, but unknowingly, I think.
Yeah, but we've never consciously, shall we say, taken another design and and turned it into one of our own.
Right. Okay. When you sort of go out and make a crop circle, are you sometimes looking at other circle makers' work and trying to adapt it and move on? I mean, I've done that myself. I mean, I know that there's this kind of challenge almost that goes on between
an evolution of that design,
evolutionary type
next
thing.
Stage up.
Yeah, somebody does a 3D, so then somebody has to do a 4D, and then you have to kind of match it and different circle makers taking aspects of other people's work and incorporating it into their designs, like putting lots of little circles on the edges or fractals or...
Oh, I guess if you look at it like that, with grape shot and things like that, I suppose that was in other designs before, you know what I mean? Little grape shots that pop up, maybe a border around the edge, but little things like that, but not the actual design itself, maybe the little techniques used.
The design is always specific to you or to me, isn't it? And we just work with that design.
Yeah.
Never anybody else's work. It's just not looked at like that.
Although sometimes we've done...
we need to do something original.
Collaborations we've done with a couple of guys that have...
there's been collaborations,
We'll send each other a design and then they'll add their bit to it as well. So I guess, we've done that more than once, haven't we? That always works out very well. Okay,
great. Well,
like the 8 was a collaboration, isn't it?
The 8 was a collaboration.
Yeah, I think we've got somebody who's going to Skype into us. So if that person,
I mean, we can see them.
Yes, in a second we'll get it up, and we'll Skype them as well. Mrs. So if they want to, just give them a call. Give them a call, and I think this person may even have a webcam. I'm not sure about it, but we shall see. And let's see if we can. Can you hear a Skype caller?
Hello.
Hello, Skype caller. They're on. I can hear. I heard something then.
Hi.
Hi there. How are you?
Hello.
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 Wow. Technology.
Hey, that's freaky. How you doing?
Not bad.
Have you got a webcam?
No webcam.
9 and webcamen.
9 webcam and only audio.
Yes. Spreckens the circle makers. Okay, well, you are through to the circle makers. Ask away. And do you want to introduce yourself?
I am Miss Anonymous.
Miss Anonymous.
Okay.
Oh, I do. It can't be as bad as Fanny.
Yeah. My webcam doesn't work.
Oh dear. Okay, well go ahead and we'll just carry on with voice. That's fine. It's a lot less intimidating as well. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, initially, I'd like to say that you guys come across really well.
Oh, thank you very much.
You.
Thank you.
Yes.
Are you hearing a delay and waiting for the responses through live stream? You should.
Yeah, huge delay.
Yeah, turn the live stream volume down and just talk to us through Skype is probably your best bet.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll probably find it a lot more friendly.
Okay, that's better. Well, I mean, initially I was very dubious about the idea of having circle makers in this kind of scenario, but obviously watching the program and listening to you guys, you come across really well, and I think a lot of what you say strikes a chord with me. So I would like to ask, what is your motivation when you go out and make a crop circle? Do you feel that there is sort of some divine motivation? Divine isn't necessarily the right word. What is the motivation as your primary motivation for going out and making crop circles?
Well, like I said, it's all there's multi levels to it. I mean, on one level, yes, it's art, and I mean, who doesn't like the world looking at their work? I mean, when you make a crop circle, the very next day it's on the Crop Circle Connector, and you can see how many people have looked at it, and there's a lot of people that look at it. So that's one level.
Okay. So I mean, you know, when you sort of take that away, is there, you know, when you're going out and you're making a crop circle, and as you say, you know, it takes a long time and you're knackered and you do it year after year. That motivation can't be just because you're seeing your design on the crop circle.
Yeah, sure, go on.
Well, personally, myself, it is simply because it's a message, and that message is one of love and happiness and, you know, compassion and all the rest of it. We put that intent, as we're actually stomping through the crop, we put that intent through the crop circle, and we want people to go in there and pick that energy up. So personally, that is my only motivation, to actually get that across and say, you know, human beings are wonderful creatures, and, you know, I want you to pick this up, I want you to feel this energy, and people do. You know, we're amazing beings, and you can pick that vibe up, and you need to know that it's coming from all of us. It's not coming from, you know,
externally.
Yeah, it's not coming from little green men's. We're wonderful things, and we can pick these things up. And that's my personal motivation.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. When I said art, I mean it's lots of different levels. So the art was just one level, but also what Fanny just said there about you know, putting a positive message for people to actually you know, to pick up on, and that's a big one, because every time we go out and make a circle, we first of all spin out the centre circle before anything else is done. We put all the equipment in there, and we all stand around in a circle and hold hands and do an affirmation. You know, ask the universe for aid for protection, and we ask to help us with our task, and to give the farmer something in return, so he's not lost out. You know, whatever he needs to, you know, make him happy. Yeah. And for the people to go in there and pick up on those feelings, you know, because all the circles that we do, when we do that, there's never a bad word said about them, isn't there? People go in and say, oh, I had an amazing experience and stuff like that, and that's what it's about. I kind of think that crop circles are a thing that nobody can really own, not even the circle makers, because you make it, and then you're basically handing it over to the world and say, there you go, that's what you do. People meditate in it, and people do all sorts of stuff in there, you know.
But you see, that's where I had a bit of a problem with that, because, you know, that whole ethos behind what you're saying, I totally agree with. And I, you know, there's nothing about what you're saying there that I disagree with. But then I can't seem to kind of understand how, if that's your kind of base motivation, then how does kind of, I know you're anonymous, because obviously, you know, one doesn't know who you are, but what you're doing is still putting yourself forward and out in crop circles that you've done as circles that you've done, and therefore I can't quite find a middle ground with understanding how that relates to that experience, because then you are putting yourselves forward as people, and here I've created this crop circle, thereby people that have had experiences in those crop circles and have had profound epiphanies and are going to look at them differently, and so that I find it difficult to kind of understand where you're coming from in that respect only.
Well, we come from, the reason why we're like this is because in the last couple of years we've had a lot of accusations thrown at us by researchers, and a lot of negativity aimed at us, and basically, you know, I mean, what we put into the crop circles isn't necessarily what we get back from the researchers, is it? I mean, obviously the people who go into the crop circles are all love and light and everything else, but it's the people who make money out of them that actually accuse us of being liars, and, you know, hit us with all this negativity. And that's why, well, me personally, that's why I'm like this, covered up.
But what does that matter? I mean, what does that matter what those people say, when the vast majority of the people that are going into your creations are having such amazing experiences? Why are you letting one very small minority of people affect how you're feeling about your creations?
Well, because it's quite, I mean, we live pretty much, you know, normal lives as well, and sometimes when people are aiming that negativity, we're not just talking, you know, a couple of nasty words to your face or anything like that. We're talking major campaigns going out there to really discredit you and do some nasty things, and I just don't think that that's necessary at all.
We don't want to draw that to ourselves.
We don't, no.
We just...
And why should we? I mean, and to answer what you originally said about why would we say, oh, we done this circle, and I'm not trying to take the magic away from the people that have had experiences in them circles. What I'm actually doing by saying we made this circle is hopefully triggering something in somebody's mind that, oh, I was in that circle, and it was man-made, and maybe make you, when you said that you might look at them differently, I hope it's not negatively. I hope it's a different angle, thinking, well, actually, hang about.
That's pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing that people are doing that to themselves, not us making them, but the energy that you're feeling from inside the circles.
You're creating that yourself.
You're creating that yourself, because you're an amazing being. And,
I mean, I
totally
understand what you're saying, and I'm completely with you. My main concern over that is, without being dismissive to other people, is that perhaps you're slightly ahead in the way that you're viewing things.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, but thank you.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
It's an interesting point you make, but I suppose you can look at it in two ways. It's the magic that people think they're getting from the crop circles, and the magic is something that, you know, I don't think the circle makers have put that magic there. The circle makers may have facilitated the design.
We put the intent there, yeah, certainly.
We may have treated it in some ways like a magical ceremony, you know, in the invocations that we've done, in the positive energy that we've tried to call down. But you know, people's magic is that's belonging to them. It's not belonging to circle makers.
Yeah, I think that's a very important point.
It is, yeah.
You know, we can't take that away from people, and we don't want to take it away from people. But
you run the risk of doing that by outing formations that you make, because by doing that, as much as I'm totally in line with what you're saying, and I understand, you know, what motivates you, I just kind of have a little bit of an issue with the outing yourselves in that fashion, because it depends where it comes from. I mean, watching you guys, you know, I presume you're a couple.
What? Me
Yes.
and Bob, me and Fanny. No, they are.
It's a big Mary Paulson
they're the
there,
couple.
yeah.
Fanny and Bob are, yes.
Yeah,
I did try, but they didn't want to swing that way.
You come across really, really brilliantly, and I totally get what you're saying. But then I just kind of wonder what the motivation is beyond that, and you know, if it's because researchers are pissing you off.
No.
And is that coming from love and light, or is it coming from like a certain anger point of view?
No anger.
Good point.
Purely.
Good point.
Researchers aren't really do piss us off.
Well, some of the things.
Yeah, but that's not my that's not my personal reason.
Bullshit.
Yeah, but that's what she's saying about is what's your motivation for outing the circles.
I guess.
My personal reason for outing the circles is to show people that we are amazing beings, and that's simple. You know, we can do this, and we can create this energy, and we can pass it through. It's my personal motivation.
Yeah, and I think that is like an amazing motivation. I just really, really hope that you know, the people that are having the experiences are able to transcend that step.
Yeah.
But also,
Okay.
what you said,
guys have, and I'm not quite sure if that is going to happen, or what's actually going to happen is people are going to say, oh, well, we saw these guys on this CircleMakers.tv, and they were, you know, and you're going to end up finding yourselves in the same position as you were before, and not having actually achieved anything, other than there's going to be more doubt out there than there was before.
Well,
the fact that you've come on and spoke to us and told us that we've come across, you know, the way we have, I think that's brilliant. Thank you very much. You know, so that's given us hope. You know, just yourself. You know, that's great. One person, great. You know, you'll go on to the next person, and then the next person, and you know, hopefully, amongst all of us, we're helping, you know, get enlightened.
Okay, Agent D was trying to make a point, but
thanks, guys.
it is okay. Hold on a second. We might come back to you. But Agent D was having trouble getting his voice heard over the mic switcher. Sort of, everyone's got their own radio mics on them, you see, and I've got this mic here. So when Dave wants to speak, he has to shout over the top of us all, and that's not easy. So, Agent D.
Yeah, basically, what I wanted to say is that you know, when people actually like think of the crop circle research fraternity, it's like they really need to take a step back on what is actually being said, and look at actually the circle makers as what they've been doing, and it's like you know, have a word, you know, look at what the circle makers are actually doing, and it's like more of that than rather than the research, the so-called research that they're doing. Yeah,
because the researchers they get their message out through the books and their talks and lectures, and really when they give their talks and write their books and that, a lot of it is not really quite the truth.
They do,
So
they
this
do
is
bend the
platform.
truth.
Yeah.
Obviously, they do
Yeah,
bend
but
the truth.
that's their
It's
bad. It
always
doesn't
us.
matter. That's their bad.
Us
Them,
as the circle makers, us lot, as the circle makers, who are always like, sit back and think, hello, what's going on here?
Yeah, it's not necessary sometimes.
I mean, the thing is, sorry, I faded myself out then. The thing with being a circle maker as well is has somebody turned their volume up? There we go. The thing is that we have to be on best behaviour at all times, because we will get accused of being the bad guys and being the Satanists or the government agent, or whatever, all the stories that come out about circle makers, and we've got to be on best behaviour, and we've got to be like diplomats. And I mean, you're dealing with a lot of different people who come from different backgrounds. They have different motivations for why they make the crop circles, and some of them take the criticisms in different ways. Now, it's very hard to make circle makers behave like diplomats, because I think when they get attacked, they behave and respond in the same way as a lot of other people respond, and they tend to sort of fight back. And the circle makers' way of fighting back is by being honest and talking about it. The negative downside of talking about it is that people will say, "Oh, you're just trying to destroy the art now, aren't you? You're just trying to take it back." And my response to that is, not really, because I think the type of people who wouldn't believe that we could make crop circles are not going to be the type of people who would listen to the show anyway. And they would also be the types of people who probably, even if we took them out at a night time and actually stood them there and made a formation in front of them, they'd go away and tell everybody, no, it was crap. It wasn't like any of the other ones that have ever appeared. You know what I mean? It's really hard. So I think that circle makers are trying really hard to bring this information out, because it's to me it's like Santa Claus. We've moved on a bit now. And
yeah, but Santa Claus is for kids. That we are not kids. This isn't Santa Claus. It's kind of we are beyond that.
Yeah, some people behave in a very childish manner towards circle makers. I mean, I've got to say, I've tried to have people censor me and write to organisations saying that I'm an undesirable person and a criminal and all this sort of thing. At the very same time, knowing full well that the work that I've done is what they go out there making money out of, and they hail as being the best thing since sliced bread. So from my perspective, I'm rather upset that because I'm trying to help people understand the truth, that I get demonised, and these people are then standing there going, we've done nothing wrong because we're actually making money out of your work and you can't tell anybody about it. And we as circle makers are kind of a little bit upset that these people make their livings out of it, but they won't tell the truth, and they do know more than they would tell. And that's deceptive. That's really bad, because they know a particular formation might have been made, farmers been paid, and then they go back to their crop circle conferences and tell everybody that they have no information that was a man-made circle. It's the gravy train. It's the gravy train. Now, we as circle makers aren't necessarily doing that. We're not deceiving people. We're trying to tell them the truth. And the truth is quite exciting, I think, that magic happens in man-made circles. And that's the bit that really needs to come across, is that there is a magic, and people have strange effects, but it's man-made crop circles. Now, if you can take, sorry, I'm rattling on here. Sorry, guys. But if you could take away the initial offence that people would feel. I used to making crop circles. I thought, well, who the hell are these bastards? I used to be part of a crew that used to chase around in cars saying, we'll catch them and stop them, and when we do, they'll be bloody in for it, So we were all, it's all about this rage and anger from people at finding out the truth. But then I got over that. I got over that hump and became a circle maker, found out that it does cause magic and people get a lot from it.
But that's what normally happens,
Yes.
is once you find out that truth, then you either go out and you make circles, or you leave and you're not really interested in circles anymore. That's the problem. You've got to look at the fundamental problem of outing circle makers, and it's just that. You do that, you're removing all the mystery, everything that makes it anonymous. You're removing what allows people to actually have an experience, because...
Okay, Dave's going to respond to you now.
Yeah, why should you out any circle makers?
I think he's asking you the question there.
I'm asking you there.
Sorry, I don't understand what you mean, Dave.
Why should you out any circle makers?
I don't think she's on about...
In your context
of
what you said before...
Why should we?
Any circle makers, because they're the ones that actually creating magic.
What are you saying? What's wrong with?
See, I don't think that's the case. I don't think the circle makers are creating the magic. I think
Well, they are. Surely they are.
No, they're not. Okay.
Part of it. We're part of it.
Yeah, but that's what I say. Everybody's
it's all connected.
involved in it. The people make the designs, the people make the circles, the people visit the circles and meditate in it, and the magic goes on. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Do you know, I think this is part of the show. This is why it's good to get this controversy out in the open, because people don't understand these types of arguments or debates or points, and they're all important because really we as circle makers, I think, are trying to tell people that we're nothing special, you know, and you could be out there doing this as well. It's not about Matthew Williams, the superpower superhero, or he's got some special energy or something like that, and he's putting, you know, that's not Matthew Williams, that's not Bob and Fanny, that's not Agent D, except when I've had some special K in the morning. But you know, there's more to this, and people can get involved. And I think it's about saying to people, look, you might be upset at finding out that it's people, but if you've loved this subject for long enough and you've had enough magic from it and enough experiences, maybe it's time, like we did, that you move on. And hopefully by talking about it in this open way, it removes it from the gossip network, the Chinese rumours that permeate the pubs and some of these special circle maker haunts like the Silent Circle Cafe, you know, where we are demonised. And a lot of effort is put into putting out stories about how we've attacked people, physically attacked them, that we, you know, we're criminals, that, like, you know, people have even said cars have been broken into, you know, and it must be something to do with the circle makers, you know, or circle makers were seen nearby and some cars were broken into, and it's like, hang on a minute, you know, I think that's going to be people who are opportunistic, who are trying to make money out of the circles. It's nothing to do with circle makers. Even honesty boxes. I mean, come on. Yeah, honesty boxes have been robbed. There was even a case last year where the farmers went into the field and very large honesty boxes had been placed in the fields, not by the farmer. And they'd been collecting money. Somebody had been collecting money, and it wasn't going to the farmer, and it wasn't going to the circle makers, you know. I don't think the circle makers were quick enough to have that idea, to be honest.
Yeah, can I pose a question to that lovely lady who's actually online here?
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to ask you a question. In what sense do you actually think that the circle maker is actually benefiting in any way, shape or form?
Are you still there?
Gone.
Oh, I think she might have
we
gone.
lost her?
She's on. We've got a call. She's typing in now a response. Oops, connection lost.
Oh dear.
Oh, we're trying to call. Okay.
Connection lost.
There you go. You'll have to turn your volume down on live stream. There we go.
Okay. Connection lost. There you go. Turn your volume down on live stream. There we go.
There we go. She'll catch up in a second.
So what? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
We're getting echo from live stream, but it might stop. There you go.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So your question is, in what way do I think you benefit from making circles? So your question is,
yeah, you'll have to turn your volume down on your live stream. We'll come back to that in a sec. It takes about 10 seconds for this problem to clear out if we get a problem. So maybe I'll fade you back up. How's that? Okay. I think are you still there?
Yeah.
Oh, go on then. Sorry, right. I'm even thrown to what the question was now. I'm so wrapped up in the technicalities of this mixing desk.
How do I think you benefit?
Yeah.
Well, okay. How do I think you benefit?
Oh dear.
Yeah. Well,
okay, if you can hear us, you definitely need to turn the volume down on your live stream, but keep your Skype open. But you'll probably hear the response. Go ahead and respond.
No, I was waiting for her to respond because Dave was asking the question.
Yeah, I asked the question.
You asked the sorry.
We benefit in any way? Or?
This is a real show, by the way, folks. This is made by real people that make mistakes. Yes.
Can you tell?
They're out there. Those mistakes are out there in the crop circles as well if you look really hard for them. But
okay. From having the unique position of seeing things from another standpoint.
Okay.
That perhaps you came from a standpoint originally where you perceived crop circles in a different way, and you moved past that into perhaps where you are now, and that gives you a unique position of viewing things. And I think in that you have to remember that not everybody else perceives it in that way.
Yeah, no, You are absolutely right. You know, I'll tell you what, you've actually hit the button there. You've actually totally hit the button. I think that what you said there was basically a lot of and
no, that's what you were saying,
I can't actually really answer that.
There's a lot of ums going on here.
Actually, no. Yeah, basically, it is self-gratification, really. It is a lot of self-gratification, also, as well as the fact that you actually are using the fact that you're actually doing this stuff, and people are actually using or actually finding something in your design to actually see something within that. Do you see what I'm saying? It is a little bit egotistical. I do admit that.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
No?
No.
Well, get out. There's the door.
Sorry, but I wouldn't agree.
No, you see, I agree with you. I don't necessarily see it as having to be egotistical, because it depends where it's coming from and what your end result is. And as you say, you know, I think you said before you make a crop circle, you have a moment where you hold hands and you know, you try and you hope the farmer's okay and you give your positive thing. That isn't egotistical.
That's true. This is right. This is why I do it. That's how I do it.
Now I disagree, because at the end of the day, right, because it's when you see the image of your formation portrayed on a picture or on the crop circle connector or whatever,
Newspaper.
and when you see it on the newspapers, yeah, it really does actually stroke your ego. It is. It's like art. No, hang on, Debbie. No, it's not. It is.
For some people,
no,
I don't.
We're actually disagreeing amongst ourselves here.
That's not my motivation.
No, not yours.
No, that's what I'm saying. It might be for him, but it's.
And me. I sometimes get that as well. You do feel proud.
We've talked about this in the past.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to get? What are you going to get more pleasure out of? Are you going to get more pleasure out of seeing your designs whacked across websites, or are you going to get more pleasure out of the person who goes into your formation or, you know, your crop circle that you designed and you don't really know why, and they come out of it going, wow.
Well, hang on a minute. This is exactly what you know, what like Banksy does. You know, if he sees something that's actually caused a reaction, yeah, then surely that's stirred up someone's emotions or something. You know, I'm no artist, right? Listen, I'm just literally I'm a shit kicker from South London, yeah. All I do, right, is basically I just stomp around, right, and I will literally just stomp a bit of crop.
This is the simplified version of making crop circles.
Designers who I'm actually in company with, yeah, they're the ones actually like make this stuff. You know, do you know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's like it's really strange. It's very strange. It's
you don't give yourself enough credit there.
No.
We're all part of a team, though.
To be honest with you, no, I don't. No,
we're all competent.
I've never really done anything. No, really seriously.
Well, I think, G, you've just highlighted something there completely. Is that you know, from what I can ascertain, listening to the couple on the sofa and you and Matthew and reading various other stuff, is that all circle makers are different.
Yes, that's exactly it. As we're all different. We've all got our own motivations and things like that, you know.
Yeah.
But generally, it's kind of a positive thing that we do. Depends. Everybody's got their motivations. You're absolutely right. But the end result is a positive experience for people to go into that circle and have a good time. So it can only be a good thing on all levels, I think.
Okay, well that sounds that's pretty good. So we're going to move on, if that's okay with the caller, and we're going to get some other callers in. I hope we've answered some of your questions.
Nice speaking to you.
And
thank
you for your help. They don't know who you are, but thank you for your help. You've helped this show go ahead, so thanks very much. Right, we're going to call somebody called Den now, and he's going to try and speak to us, hopefully. So, Den, are you there? Can you hear us, Mr. Den? We seem to be connected to you. Well, speak to us if you can. We've got the fader slid up, so if you manage to get your mic working, you'll come through to us in a second. So, right, okay. What about circle makers around you that you didn't even know? I mean, this is the funny thing for the public is they say, well, you know, who are these circle makers? And have you had any... Oh, go on. He wants to cough. Cough away. Oh, sorry. I just faded his mic. So. Go and have a drink, sir. Yes, you have permission.
It's hot under this, you know that.
It is very, yes. Well, I don't know because I'm not actually wearing one, but
Really?
circle makers around you that you didn't know that you had a circle maker near you.
Sorry.
Did you ever sort of have a time when you met a circle maker and didn't even know it? You know, in the early days, you were speaking to circle makers and didn't know about that.
That would be you then. Back in the day, yeah,
We're
when we
back
first
in the
came
day.
down, yeah.
Yep.
We totally fell in love with the crop circles that we found in the year
2000.
2000. Yeah, that was like a big awakening period for us. And
Yeah, we'd never even heard of them before now,
no,
had we?
really. No, we just went for a drive up by, where was it, Silbury Hill Way? And
Yeah.
we saw that big triangular formation up by West Kennet Longbarrow.
Yeah, under the West Kennet Longbarrow, yeah.
And we went inside the formation there, had a fantastic experience. It was just really nice, and we met some lovely people in there with all different, you know, hypotheses and theories about the whole thing. It was really interesting speaking to them.
Including someone camping out and expecting the...
Oh yeah, intergalactic pizza delivery boys. That was quite an interesting character that we met. he was just waiting for the UFO pizza delivery. I don't know what he was probably
Anyway,
mushrooms at the time or something. But and then from that point, we met a couple in another crop circle just down the road from there, who took us down to
Lockeridge, wasn't it?
Yeah, they took us down to the Barge Inn down at Honey Street, which I'm sure many people have visited over their time. And was it when we was down there? That's when we met Mr. Williams.
Yes.
And yeah, and we had a good long chat about stuff because at the beginning, when we first got into it, I actually wrote that paper, didn't I, called Ever Increasing Circles, and completely saying that there's no way these could be made by people because I was listening to what the researchers were.
Yeah, we had that thought, didn't we?
We had that thought, yeah, that there's
So
no
it
way that
wasn't
these can be made by
possible.
people. And then eventually we met the relevant people to show us actually they were made by man, and then we was
And then the
asked,
amazing experiences that were had therein.
yeah, but we were invited to go out and make one. That's the key, people, is we've invited some people out, you know,
So
some
many
non-believers,
people,
and we've
yeah.
always invited them out. Please come out and see for yourself, and every time.
Just experience the magic, experience what it's about.
Like,
No,
can't do it. Yeah.
Proper weird stuff.
Yeah, proper weird stuff. That's the thing. When people visit the circle afterwards, they have fantastic experiences, balls of light they see there, and they pick up all these energies. But we see this whole other side, don't we? I mean, there's nothing like being in the Wiltshire countryside in the middle of the crop on a starry night, is there?
And
you're
1
going
o'clock
around,
in the morning.
1 o'clock in the morning, you're looking around and see the mist rising off there, and everybody's in a good mood. You know,
It's
because
a good vibe
it's a
going
good
on.
vibe, yeah, and we have a little bit of a laugh and a little bit of a joke, and then right at the end, when it all comes together, and you suddenly think, wow, we've done it.
We've just created this. How
Yeah.
did that come together? How did
Yeah.
that just happen?
Because I guess sometimes it does feel like that there's, when I say not an external hand, but, you know, a
No.
higher consciousness that's ultimately us.
I think it's our intentions. We've honed that intention so much at the beginning, and we're so focused on what we're doing that actually helps go along to create what we put down in the field.
Yeah.
Right, okay, well, we've got a few questions. By the way, Den, I think we had problems with your Skype there, but good luck if you can get it working. Try again later on. Right, Darcy was saying, I'm not sure, but anyone can say they made a circle on the web. So that he's not too sure whether or not we can prove it. And he goes on to say, that does not really count as a sworn confession. Surely
No.
evidence is required for a prosecution.
Yes.
That's true.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Yeah. What, is he referring to the fact that we're wearing masks so we can't be
No,
identified?
well,
Yeah, I suppose so. And
Yeah.
and the fact that if you say you made a circle, that it's not necessarily a police confession with a signature at the bottom of it.
Oh, right, yeah, I see what you mean, yeah. But the disguise is more...
it's not for that. It's more for what we said about the negativity aimed at
Yeah,
us.
I don't really
We
want
don't
to be...
And
You know.
also the fact that you'll be prosecuted. You know.
Well, that's what they're just saying, that it's not possible, really, because it's not a sworn, confession, really.
But at the same time, you know, we don't really want to cause any trouble. Especially for ourselves.
Yeah.
So can we have it actually read at this point that human beings actually make crop circles?
Yeah, that's the bottom
Is
line.
that the bottom line?
That's the bottom line, yeah.
Seriously, could we actually get this one out of the way? That human beings actually make all crop circles.
Yeah, because I think somebody asked earlier about that the Titanic triangle, and do we think that was human made? And the answer to that is yes,
every
absolutely.
Single crop circle is made by a human being. You know, so stop it. People, have a word for yourself, right? People make crop circles. That's it. End of. Stop it.
Humans make them. Stop it. You will meet the magical man who has this wisdom. He will be on hopefully next week, and he will give you more of this wisdom, and you will get to see exactly who he is, and he might even tell you his name.
I think you've already done that, haven't you?
I think a few names have been given out tonight that we're supposed to be. Yeah. It's very hard to do, isn't it?
Never mind,
Yeah. So yes, it's going to be an interesting one when we have a chat with our friend Agent D. Okay. Let's have a look at some questions. We got something. Can you ask Bob and Jenny, or is it Bob and Fanny? I think Bob and Fanny. Yeah. Boba Fett. What they know about Euclidean geometry. You see, I can actually say that. Euclidean.
Really swift, short answer.
Never heard of it.
Nothing. What is that? Perhaps they could tell me
what
it
is
is.
Euclidean geometry?
My understanding is if you get Euclidean geometry, you go and get a course of antibiotics off the doctor, and then it all clears up, hopefully. But or is that chlamydian geometry?
No, sorry. Do you know?
The actual person was saying that Euclidean was used as a phrase in what's his name?
Pythagoras, Euclidean, Euclid.
Bet you wish it didn't start.
Henry Miller used Euclidean.
Henry Miller,
Euclidean.
The answer is you don't know anything. Can he explain?
Sexless trilogy. Yeah, he used Euclidean as a terminology, which was I have no idea.
You can stop digging now, Dave.
Okay.
Dave,
In short, we don't know.
Yeah.
Is it? Can I say this? This is said with love and humour, but you've had a drink, haven't you?
I have. Actually. Yes, I have.
When I sprung it that Daley Thompson, who was going to be on the show tonight, and absolutely frigging useless, isn't it?
No, seriously, but I think that
Not you.
Euclidean was actually.
No, the answer is.
I was on about my.
Can you please explain what it is?
Yeah, maybe he can tell us what Euclidean.
Enlighten us, please.
Yes,
Okay. Enlighten
Very
us.
Euclidean.
Yes. So we're getting a response to what they're asking.
It's a thrice way of saying.
A thrice way of saying.
A thrice.
Is it? I'm sure it's not once.
Which is like not once, not twice, but thrice.
It's not once or twice.
Three.
Okay.
Stop being the number.
4.
Right.
Not 1,
No.
3.
5 is right out.
Jax just wants to say that he's a follower of Bob and Fanny's work and thinks they do some excellent designs and can't wait to see their next circle.
Oh, thank you.
Who's that?
That's Jax.
Oh,
Jax.
Thank you very much.
We know who that is. And you tuned in.
Yay.
Okay, well, Den might be able to come through to us soon, is it?
Sure.
Is it yay or nay? It's a question. Okay, here's Den's question then. He said his mic wasn't plugged in properly. I know that
Oh,
feeling.
is he on live, is he?
Yeah. He said he's not able to speak to us, but we're going to read out his question instead.
Okay.
I would like to ask about mistakes in the designs
Oh, yeah.
and how the makers work around them. More specifically, how many times are mistakes made, how are they covered up, and are there any examples your guests can point out?
Every single circle has got a mistake in it.
Of ours, definitely.
Of ours, yes.
Team hands.
Yeah, we call them between ourselves. This is where the humour comes into it as well. We don't take ourselves seriously. When we go out there, we have a laugh and we have a joke while we're doing it as well. Because you've got to. And we usually
But
call
you just
little
incorporate
mistakes.
them into the actual
into the
design,
design.
don't you? They're not disasters.
The fuck-ups, usually, are actually made out into parts of...
Yeah, exactly.
Which
we
would
incorporate
suggest
them.
something else going on there universally, isn't it? Because sometimes we think that...
It's out of our hands, almost, sometimes, isn't it? That the mistakes happen, because we don't plan for those to happen.
No.
Then they happen, and then it gets changed into something else.
And then the people the next day, when they look at the design, and they don't see the mistake like we see the mistake, and they, for example, on the top of the Phoenix circle.
Yeah, Phoenix.
Originally, it wasn't supposed to have a disc on the top. It was supposed to just be rounded, but then a mistake happened where a line was just extended too much. And so we incorporated that disc into that line into a disc, and we just turned it into part of the design. But the next day, when we looked on the crop circle connector, people were suddenly putting up pictures of real Phoenix, artwork with a sun above their head, and we thought that was what we were missing. Yeah. It's like the universe decided that actually it needed a sun above it. So
we didn't have that in the design; it just happened.
Yeah. So you just got to go with the flow, and sometimes mistakes are really obvious, to us and other circle makers, I'm sure.
And also, can I just actually say that can I make an homage to the people who are absent here? That are actually the circle makers, the absolutely fantastic circle makers.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and we know who we're talking about. There's two in particular. Yeah, and homage to them.
Yes.
Because they are fantastic.
Yes, but there are always mistakes in the circles, and a lot of people don't believe that there are mistakes in the circles. But I think most crop circles don't end up as they were originally intended. But most people wouldn't ever know that. So that gives me an excuse to. So you never knew there were circle mistakes. Den says, "I've never seen any fuck ups." Well, here you go, Den. And there really are a lot of fuck ups, and we can show you some of them if you'd like. We don't have any to hand, but we can call some up and we'll go through what we what we see in them, and we'll point them out to you.
Yeah, but Matt, on that note, we know.
Don't use my real name.
Okay,
sorry.
Your mask slipping. Put your mask back up. Yeah. That we know people who are in the thatching world, for example. They thatch, master thatchers. And to us, when they finish doing the roof and we walk past it, to us it's immaculate in every way, shape and form. It is absolutely perfect. But that person will be critical of their own work. An artist never likes their own work because they always see the mistakes that they put into there. But if people don't know that's a mistake, then they'll never know, and they just think it's part of the design. So it's quite quite simple. Yeah. My voice went a bit funny.
Need another drink.
Cool. Okay. Well, somebody called Ariadne has said mistakes ? Eastfield 777. Surely.
Yes,
yeah, exactly. We're totally hands up to that. You're right.
Yeah.
Lots of mistakes.
Lots and lots of mistakes.
Loads of mistakes. In fact, the subject of lots of arguments.
Yes.
Hence the flaming hair.
Lots of mistakes in the
definitely.
Yes.
You hit the nail on the head. The arm was full of mistakes.
But a beautiful design, nonetheless.
Yes, and it had amazing results for people who really enjoyed that circle.
Still had the desired effect, which was, positivity, love, and an amazing space.
Despite the fact that someone actually told us to make donuts.
Okay, somebody called AGP has said, is there a theme for this year's circles? Maybe not the best of people to ask, because you're not doing as many as some, but what
4 or 5 year we make.
Yes, so what would your theme be? And not that necessarily will have an effect on what other people's ideas are of what they're going to do, but
from my own point of view, I haven't decided on anything yet. I kind of generally wait until the season's almost upon us and I start getting the inspiration. When I see the snowdrops out and the bluebells and things like that, and I start feeling, oh yeah, the crop, I can see it growing and stuff, that's when I start getting into that and start looking forward to it, and out comes the pen and the paper, and away we go. But
pick up on the vibe, don't you, of spring and summer and all the rest of it, and then inspiration comes.
Spider-like.
Spider-like.
Yeah. Well, if you give an idea of what you say is going to possibly appear, then no doubt somebody will go out and do it. So
how about just a circle in the middle of the field?
Yeah. But sometimes people, sometimes themes sort of emerge themselves. I think, like definitely in 2009, it was an animal-related theme going on. There was a lot of nature incorporated.
Yeah, we wanted to do nature.
Jellyfishes, birds, fish, all sorts of stuff. It was Yeah, definitely a eau de naturel year 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, smell that.
Right, a question from Dorothy. No, hang on. You must be doing very well. Katy Perry keeps on popping up as an
Katy
advert.
Perry?
Who's the hell's Katy Perry?
Katy Perry.
Oh,
I've got a pop-up advert.
How bizarre!
never popped up me. Or I her. So, yes. Well, let's see who else have we got. Somebody sent me a link. It says, Matthew, I found a picture of the triangular formation I was on about. Hang on, I've lost the question now. It's okay, carry on. I was talking about earlier. This is from Crop Dolly. It's on this YouTube clip, and we're going to watch that now, and we'll see if we can bring the YouTube clip up. I don't think YouTube clips will actually come up on the screen, but if we can work out which one it is, we might be able to point you at it then. But you'll have to watch this. It's 4 minutes long. So we'll carry on with the questions whilst that's taking place. So somebody's going to watch this and see if they can work out which one we're talking about. Crop circle decryption that some folk have done. Is that something good to chat about? What do you think about crop circle decryption? Of the ideas,
decoding the crop circles.
Decoding the messages of the crop circles.
Oh dear.
Well, no, but then some circles are deliberately done with codes in them. I.e.
Some
are.
called the
Some.
pi.
Yeah.
A
The
lot.
pie one.
A lot are, and I think that people can interpretate them any way they want to, really. And sometimes some of our particular circles, they've come out with theories and things that we've not even noticed, dimensions and and different shapes and different alignments and stuff like that I didn't know about in there, and I find it fascinating. Just think, so I maybe sometimes haven't put that in there, and it's just turned out to be exactly that. So.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh really?
You guys doing okay? Do you want a drink or anything?
Yeah.
You want a drink?
I've got some water.
You're okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Everything?
I mean, it's a very weird one, isn't
I was
it?
thinking about what gets put on.
People interpret the designs, and it isn't necessarily what the original.
Oh, yeah, well, hang about that side of things. Sorry, I'll just.
No,
Are you on about what's on the crop circle corrector?
Let's have it right. What exact crop circle is actually
The pi. He done that deliberately to have the pi equation in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Who did what? You don't name,
No,
just in case, unless you're allowed
A
to.
certain person made a crop circle.
The pie.
Equation.
Yeah. And that was definitely done
But
by
are you on
design.
the question you asked, Matt? Were you on about the researchers and how they break it down mathematically and all the rest of it from the researcher's point of view?
It just says crop
circle. It goes on
Void
a really
Hawk
weird
says.
sort of tangent, doesn't it? And I know what you mean.
He says crop circle decryption that some folk have done. Is that something good to chat about? Well, I mean, it's an open question, really. So, I would say that people have found mathematical stuff in the crop circles that was never intended by the people who did the designs.
Yeah.
That you can do a very simple design, like a five-fold star, a pentagram. You can make a five-fold design. It's really simple. The simplest design, say a 6 or something, it's really simple. There's nothing more to it than the radius going around the outside of the circle. I'll get myself up on screen so you can see it. If you've got the outer diameter of the circle, outer diameter, the radius goes around the outside 6 times perfectly. You can work that out if you get yourself a compass and set square. Now that's not hard to do, and you can fill it in various different ways to make different shapes. But if you see, what's his name now, Freddie Silver's books and various other people that are out there, if you see their work, which interprets what is in the five-fold geometry, they'll be drawing circles outside the circle that you've done. They'll be drawing circles halfway across the field with lines joining up and astronomical alignments and things. And I think that you can read a lot into it. You'll find whatever you want to find.
There's too much red into stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Already.
And sometimes
It's like what's his name? What's his name?
Who?
Michael Caine?
No, not Michael Caine. The other guy.
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No, the other guy. the other guy who's really, really bad.
Freddie Starr?
No, the one who lives in fucking.
Robbie Williams?
No.
It's not a film star.
That little tiny island.
Little tiny island?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hang on, I'm intrigued.
No, lost me.
What's it called?
Somebody lives on a tiny island.
What's his name? Say.
Is he a star or is he a crop circle
No,
researcher?
he's that Wankstain who fucking does the lizards.
Mr. Lizard?
Mr. Lizard, yeah.
Oh, hang on. You're on about David Icke.
Okay.
There we are. We got there in the end. David Icke.
He lives in a...
You don't...
Fucking wanker.
You don't like David Icke, eh?
Wanker.
Why is he?
Dear.
Wanker. He's a fucking wanker.
Oops. We've hit on a nerve here. Remember to ask this question next week when Agent D is on.
Yeah.
No, hang on a minute.
Everyone's entitled to an opinion.
Do you believe any of that shit that he's talking about? It's horse shit.
But is it anything to do with crop circles?
No,
No, it's not. Let's stay on the theme, shall we?
David Icke's going on about this.
We'll talk about this afterwards.
Anarchy fucking coming back.
Well, lots of people have talked about that. Yeah.
No, it's bollocks.
Yes.
What a load of fucking horseshit.
That's your opinion. You're entitled to it.
Anyway, back to crop circles.
Is it safe to say some of our connections with David Icke? Because a lot of people might not know that there is a connection between me and the people sitting on the seat. I used to do David Icke's. I know I'm going to make you feel. I'm going to make you feel guilty now, by going. We actually know him quite well, and we've done work for him. Yes, we are children. We are children of the Icke. We will have no badness spoke about the Icke. No, we all know where David's coming from, or at least where we think where David's coming from. It's not necessarily all David's own research. That's my interpretation. Is he's never seen anyone change into a reptilian. He's never actually seen it, but he's, as far as I'm aware, he's spoken to a lot of people who say they have, and that's what ends up in his books as part of his research. So, as compelling as it might sound, and as interesting as the stories are, I don't think David Icke himself is actually making those statements, but by being the person that brings them forward, of course, he takes all the flack for putting the idea forward. Nothing more than we haven't seen in TV series like V, anyway. I mean, they were all reptilians. It's all been around for a long time, so it's like bad sci-fi. I don't know. I mean, I'm on the fence with it all, really. I think David Icke's a motivating force. He gets a lot of people interested, and he's not really trying to start a cult whereby, you know, it's like worship the David Icke and he'll have sex with them all and that sort of stuff. He's not really like that. You know, that's not suggesting he is a little bit like that. No, I'm just saying I've never seen evidence that he's like that. He's not a cult leader.
We're talking about something completely different.
But that's just David Icke. I mean, we can go in any direction.
I thought you were talking about five-pointed stars and going off the field.
We were talking about geometry and
mathematics
The geezer is a knob jockey.
Anyway,
Here we
on.
go. It's David Icke again.
Next question.
Knob jockeys. Let's have. Can we get some knob jockeys on here?
Some knob jockeys.
Let's get some knob jockeys on here. That'll make the ratings. Yes, I think we can talk about anything though, because it's interesting. We've done work with David. I was responsible for sort of. I think I might be right in saying this, in getting him to start doing videos, which have then been very popular, and he sold quite a lot of, and I did his early videos for him. As you can see, I've got a bit of a flair for video stuff and pushing buttons. But along the way, the people sitting on the couch, Bob and Fanny, actually came out and worked as camera operators. When we did a very large production for David in Brixton Academy. And it was a real pleasure to be part of that and to see, to see how many people there were there. And it's, a very famous venue. It was a real honour to be asked to do it, I thought.
Yeah.
But, a lot of people either like or hate Mr. Icke. But yes, he's definitely got the tongues are wagging, hasn't he, with his stuff.
But the thing is, I find that with a lot of, there's some researchers that, I don't know, I've got nothing in common with whatsoever, but there was an occasion where we went into the Crop Circle Cafe that moved to the White Horse up in, where was that place?
Silent Circle
Silent
Cafe.
Circle Cafe, yeah, we went into there
Yeah.
just to be nosy and have a look around and see what the general feel was, and there was some people talking in there all about, conspiracy stuff and stuff that's going on in the world and things that I can completely relate to. And I just thought, but those people there would not actually have anything to do with us because of the circle making thing, and I just think it's such a shame because most of us are on the same sort of team. Some aren't. I just like to make that point.
Wavelength, really, aren't we? It's believe in the same sorts of things.
When you throw crop circles in there, all of a sudden you suddenly make lots of enemies about it, and it's just sort of a bizarre sort of concept, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what you're basically saying is that there are a lot of wankers. Yeah. Let's face it.
There are
a lot of people out there, right, who are seriously delusion. I don't know. Well, they've got their heads up their arses. Yeah. They're saying like that the crop circles are actually made by something, another intelligence. Yeah? That's what you're saying.
I was somebody who was from that camp. We were all
We've
fooled.
just moved on. That's all. We're just at a different stage.
We were all fooled initially.
My friend here,
you know,
who shall not be named, Voldemort here. Yeah, it's like, no, I'm sorry.
Baldrick.
Seriously, it's like we were all brought in on this. Yeah, I'm sorry. Crop circles are made by human beings. Get over it. Stop it. Anyone who thinks otherwise is fucking stupid.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're here to talk about. So, you know, I mean, I think we've got some strong opinions there from one circle maker. The thing is that if we've got people out there who believe that aliens are making crop circles, they're at one stage. They may be, you know, they've come into this and they're in the love moment. You know, they're in the real swing of it. Yeah, it's like the swinging 60s or something. You know,
coming into it,
it's a real buzz and they're on a high. You know, and it's like the caller said earlier on. You know, I mean, what we're doing might actually be sort of fucking up their buzz, you know.
Well, no, hopefully they'll get a different buzz.
Well, hopefully they will get a different buzz. Yeah, they'll switch from one drug, i.e. crop circles, to being, you know, circle makers or circle, at least appreciative of circle making. And we're getting challenges here now. But we've got somebody called Dolly we'll go to in a minute and take a call. But it's all emotive. It's emotive subjects that we're dealing with here. We must remember that crop circles, it certainly gets people out of bed in the morning to attack the circle makers and to play up the fact that it's aliens doing it. And what we're doing here is we're actually trying to challenge that. So, you know, you're going to have a lot of diverse opinions. So if we take a call from Dolly, make sure that your live stream is turned down, and we'll see if we can hear you. So Dolly, are you there? Have we got Dolly? No, it's just calling her at the moment. We haven't actually got through. So we'll see if we get through to Dolly in a second. But another question. Let's go back to questions. Agent D, been on the Super T?
Who asked that then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whilst making crop circles.
Hello?
Watch that. Watch that.
Dolly.
Cup. Watch the cup. We're about
Hello,
to.
Dolly.
Oh, hello, Dolly.
Hello.
Hi there, Matthew. I just want to turn my
live stream down. Is it?
Live stream down. That's it.
Excellent.
Here I am. Okay. Can
You're
you hear
coming
me now?
through loud and clear. So here's your.
That's great.
Get through to
I'm
the
really
circle makers.
excited about this programme tonight because I think it's answered a lot of questions that I've had about crop circles and coming into the croppy world, really. I just wanted to describe to you what the journey has been, has been like for me, and I can certainly identify with a lot of opinions and ideas of where we're at, spiritually as well,
Yes.
For me, because I wanted to discuss that first crop circle that I'd ever been into. It was that triangular
triangle,
formation. I finally found it on YouTube. I've posted it. My first experience was that circle, and I was on a herbal course in the area back in 2007. And the lady, I'd never been to Wiltshire before. I mean, it was, again, the landscape for me. I'm coming from South Wales, to be a fellow Welsh person. You know how depressing it can be in living in Wales sometimes with the rain, and the landscape is quite harsh.
I would agree, yes.
Yeah, coming over to Wiltshire was the landscape for me was it was just like a breath of fresh air. And
very feminine landscape, isn't it? Sorry.
It
very
is
feminine landscape. It's subtle curves, sort of jagged cliffs like in Wales and hillsides. Sorry.
It is a beautiful place.
You were saying it's a very nice place to come to. So from Wales, yes. Sorry, I cut in there.
Yeah, so somebody suggested that we go and look for some crop circles. They said, oh yeah, this is crop circle country, and I kind of heard about crop circles, didn't really know what they were. I mean, I'm just an ordinary Joe public person here, you know, at that stage. Anyway, a few of us found this crop circle in the field beneath Milk Hill, and a couple of us plucked up the courage to climb over the fence, because of course a lot of us still think that, you know, the farmer's going to come, like, you know, with his gun, you know.
Yeah.
Get off
It has
our
happened.
land like that.
It has happened, yeah.
But there was three. In fact, it was funny because it was three women. It was three of us, and we walked into this crop circle, and I got to tell you, it was like entering a new world. I was already becoming spiritually aware. I'd had what you call like a bit of a crisis back in, you know, 2000, and started exploring a little bit more about perhaps other dimensions and you know, other worlds and things. And I'd gone into spiritualism and sort of, you know, followed that kind of path. So it was beginning to open up, and I was also beginning to open up to the things like you know, shamanism and these kind of areas. And my background, of course, was just bog standard, you know, Church of England, you know, education. Anyway, coming into this circle, there was something very, very magical about it, and I was just, how could I possibly believe, or any of us that was in that circle, possibly believe that it was done by the hand of people? Perhaps some part of me wanted to believe that it was something other-dimensional, otherworldly, a higher intelligence, a super intelligence, something that could come in and just create this unfathomable shape that, you know, obviously had some kind of meaning, surely had some kind of language that we are not to know about, because that's not where we're at right now, you know. And so that year, for me, really, what I would say is this opened up my awareness then, right, to higher things. Now, pan forward to 2008, when I came back to the area and witnessed the 8 formation.
Really?
In Milk Hill, and which of course happened on the 8th of the 8th, and I happened to be in the area on the 8th of the 8th.
Yeah.
Did you mention this one? Sorry,
we
you
haven't
mentioned
mentioned
it. Are you going to?
When the lady's finished.
Carry on. 8.
Okay,
you're interested in the 8.
The 8, I just wanted to say then that at that point, I actually started to connect with other people who also had possibly an awareness of something greater than ourselves that was creating this. And I got to admit to you, I believe that it was done by beings from another dimension, right? And to me, where I know the guy in the corner there saying, you know, that people got to wake up and, you know, and smell the coffee, they're man-made. But you know what? Having been through the kind of trauma that I've been through, I was perhaps part of me was looking, and partly this is perhaps part of the problem with us human beings, is that we go looking for something, you know, greater than ourselves. To give us some answers and to make us feel better, to make it's okay, you know, there's something greater, you know, going on. There's a bigger plan there. And whatever trauma you've been through, you were meant to go through that trauma because, you know, hey, you know what? Little Scotty up there in his spaceship or whatever is, you know, these beings are actually playing us. That is kind of how and it did, honestly now, everybody, these crop circles, for somebody who is coming into a greater understanding of themselves, for want of a better description, they are doing something magical, and they did something magical for me that year. Anyway, pan forward to 2009, I was actually living in the area, so I had access to visit the crop circles as soon as they were being made, and I was fully into it. And I was the same, like you said, Matt. You know, well, I mean, how can they be man-made? I mean, you know, they've got to have some higher intelligence. I got involved with the crop circle conferences. You know, I went along and listened to the lectures. I mean, I'm quite an intelligent person. I like to think I'm quite intelligent. So, you know, we're not all stupid either, or, you know, kind of believe these kind of, you know,
Yes.
These entities are making them. You know, we're just actually in our own evolutionary process. This is what I can say, that we're in our own journey then of discovery. And since meeting Matthew, I met you last year, Matthew, at one of the events in London. I won't mention it.
Right, okay.
And you said to me, I make them. And I said, I can't believe it. I don't believe you make them. They can't be made. They've got to be, you know, there's something really intelligent about this. And I'm drawn to it as a chemist as well, who's got involved with making my own crystals. I was doing research in actual crystal structures, so looking at symmetries, and you know, this was a real fascinating subject for me. But when I met you, Matt, and you said, I make them.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't believe it. You know what? When somebody thinks that they've gone along, I mean, I only went along for about 18 months. I believe that there was something super intelligent. When these guys have been doing this for 10, 15 years, and they're in that mindset, and then suddenly somebody comes along and says, you know what, I make them. No way, they're not going to believe you. Their egos are going to throw a wobbly. You know, they're going to start throwing things at you, hurling insults at you. Because you are, Matthew Williams, you are messing up the evolutionary process. You are messing up the evolutionary process of human beings.
Am I?
Well, do you know what? I've got a counter-argument to that. I think you're actually contributing to the...
I thought that was a criticism then. You're
yeah.
Go on,
this
carry on
then.
then.
This is what people are saying about you guys, right? About you crop
Excuse me, what's your point?
They're in shock. They're in shock.
No, it's okay, it's okay.
They're in shock, right?
Yes.
Because you've just told them a reality that they're not prepared to accept.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Agent D says, "What's your point?"
The point I'm getting to now is that Matthew, the crop circle, you actually at this point in time, where are we? 2011. You've created this television program where you've actually given these people the chance to air their side of the story, when most of those of us people who are coming into crop circle research or crop circle study, what have you, have only got the other fraternity.
You've only got the other side of the story.
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly. You guys are actually, Matthew Williams, you have shunted my journey up a notch.
Oh,
I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you guys, because
Big up the Williams
if
Matthew.
this had come a year ago, or 18 months ago, I wouldn't have accepted it, perhaps. But I'm ready to. I want to get objective about this. I'm one of these objective people. I like to think I am, and I want to get to the bottom of it. If they are man-made, I want to know. I'm not prepared to listen to somebody who's saying,
"Come down, make one." There you go.
Can't tell me that circle wasn't man-made. Look at the lay. Look, I'm not a grain scientist. I don't know what to look for. And neither are these other guys. They're not grain scientists. No. They don't know.
They just go on the opinions of the people that they're reading.
They blow holes, when they bend. I cannot, from an objective point of view, tell people, stand on my 2 feet on the ground and say to you, yeah, that's a blowhole, man. That's like super molecular, radiation that's caused that in 0.24 of a nanosecond or whatever you want to describe it like, because I am not justified in that. And anybody who speaks out with that justification, where is their grounding? I didn't feel comfortable, so I just want to say,
well, yeah, that's
you have moved people on.
Very good, very good.
Right. I feel that is an opinion.
Thank you for that.
That is a breath of fresh air to hear that, and so glad that you're objective and open-minded and want to accept.
Because you are one of the people that was talked about earlier on that may have gone the other way and been very deeply offended by it. So we were talking about this, and now we've got somebody on who's saying, I'm happy to be on that expansion road to sort of learning the truth.
I was in that big Milk Hill formation.
Yeah, we're going to have to keep it quite brief, because I did say 10 minutes to the guests, because they're very hot.
Sorry. My face is melted off.
No, that's fine, but if you hide your face a second, okay? Because we've actually got incredibly large film lights in here. I don't know if you can see that. That's a proper film light to actually be able to light the place up enough for the blue screen to work, and it sort of works.
And we're kind of under it.
Yeah.
And they're getting very hot, and they've got all these masks on, so they are feeling very hot at the moment, and we're going to bring it to a close because of that, not because we don't want to carry on. We will probably stay chatting if people want to sort of stay in the chat room. We will stay chatting, but we're going to have to bring the live stream to a close, and at least so you guys can take that stuff off.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I'm prepared to carry on, but you know, there has to be an end to things sometimes, and then we can always talk about these things next week.
We can come back.
It does always come back.
We can come back.
We can
have a break.
Come back.
So.
Yeah,
I would very like an anecdote, if I could.
Okay.
Yeah, all crop circle researchers are a bunch of wankers.
This is the reality, you see.
Yeah.
This is the reality.
It is a reality.
Do you know what?
It is actually a reality.
It's not the only reality.
Researchers are actually like looking up their own bottoms.
But you know, it's so hard, really, because
Agent D, ladies and gentlemen.
this is Agent D, and you're going to get the wisdom of Agent D next week, and you're going to see a very different type of circle maker.
No,
he's
the fact is that they are full of shit.
And this is what you're going to get, you see. You're going to get the complete opposite end of the spectrum, where you're going to get both barrels, and then you're going to get why the circle makers are actually slightly upset about some of the circles researchers. I mean, we could go into it from that angle of, you know, what the problems are, but I thought this week we'd have it very much as the sort of... The what, sorry?
Full of shit.
We are.
We are.
No.
Cheers, man.
No, the actual researchers.
It's a contentious subject, and we will discuss it further. Like I say, this is the reason for the channel. It's because nobody really understands that circle makers are a very different bunch of people, and some of them are into it for the art, and some of them are into it because they're doing advert contracts and want to make money out of it, and they want to sort of, you know, put themselves forward in that way. And some of people are doing it for magic reasons, and sort of, you know, because they see the way it affects other people, and that's what it's about. It's about bringing everybody. I beat me. I beat you. I beat you. I've been told to say I beat you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
TV.
Crop Circles TV. Oh yeah. I forgot. I'm supposed to say something, aren't I? Yeah, I forgot. Right then, this is a message. This is a message, a jokey message for John Lundberg. John Lundberg, this is for you. I beat you. I beat you. I beat you. I beat you. Because John is a little bit competitive, and he always likes to do something first. And I beat you. I made a television channel before you. Yeah, yeah. So there you go. That's if he watches it, and he won't admit that he did, I'm sure. So okay. Everybody that's taken part tonight, I'd like to thank everyone. I'd like to thank the guests on the hot seat there. And I'd like to say thank you very much for people who've been sitting in helping take the questions. And I'd like to close the show now with a quick message to say that we're going to be on next week, same time, Wednesday. And you better be careful I don't make a mistake and press a button. But if you want to exit that door, then you know you're going to be safe. And then you'll be all right. But I'm going to close the show down now with a big thanks. And don't forget, Wednesday next week, a new Circle Makers show for you. New Circle Makers, different angles. It's going to be colourful. And yes, it could be both barrels. And we'll see if we can get Agent D when he hasn't had a can of special tea, as somebody put it.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Thank you
Love
very
and
much.
light.
And there's the Circle Makers saying goodbye. And this is it now. I'm gonna press a button, and then something's gonna happen, and then I don't know. I've got a choice of silly things I can do. So we're gonna leave now. So it's time to go. Damn it, Circle Makers, please stay. No, we're going to go.